Welcome to Truth and Transparency, Idaho4. Pavarotti and Lana collaborate. New Year's Eve special. Why wait? Let's do it.
We're already live.
We're already live.
Yeah, I don't even have the Pavarottis on, so everybody can make fun of me.
I think this is the first time. No shades.
No. I've got these things on so I can actually see. I can't really see much with the shades, so it's all talking.
Well, welcome to Truth and Transparency. I'm so glad that you can join me today. This is great.
Well, I always said if I ever did a live, it would be with you, Lana, because I really respect your work. You work really, really hard, and there is no doubt about that.
Thank you so much. And I said the same thing. If I can get him to do a live, he's going to do it over here. Because you always do your pre-records, which are great. Yep. By the way, you dropped some really good pre-records yesterday, and then you dropped another one this morning, right?
Yep.
Well, here, I got a question for you. How much time does it go into? Because I want people to know to make a pre-record, a lot of time goes into the editing. You got to put everything together. I've made a handful of them. How much time do you think it takes you to make a video?
Well, it takes probably 3, 4, 5 hours to research everything and clip the receipts, but probably 30 minutes to make the videos. Depends on how much talking I do in between.
Right. So
I've done so many of them. The edits are I can do them with my eyes closed in 2 seconds.
Right. Oh, so the editing part is for you easier because it's just like, hey, I gotta spend the time to research it, gather the material, and then organize it, and then put it all into the clip.
That's it. Because I know if I say one word wrong or if I get one thing wrong, then I'm going to get hammered probably worse than anybody out there. So.
Well, so you started doing videos. You started your channel when?
Been a couple years.
For the Idaho4 case, though, right?
Oh yeah, I'd never even seen YouTube before the Idaho4 case.
Right. No so, what do you think about it when you came to YouTube and you're like, "Oh man, what am I?"
I mean, I didn't know what YouTube was. I know Miss Pav would watch YouTube like music videos, and I would never click on there. So I don't understand it. So when this case happened, and I was like, I need to get an update on that thing because I was really hammering for them to catch somebody, for the 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I wanted the guys over in Tulsa to go up there and work the case because they're good.
Okay.
But then when they arrested Koberger, I went, well, okay, like that they must have him. That seems strange. And then after a couple of months, I went, I need to go back and check back in. I said, this shit doesn't look right. And then I started watching True Crime Design, and then I couldn't get any updates. So I popped it on YouTube and I started hearing everybody talk. And I went, I got something to say. Let me try this.
I love True Crime Design, by the way. She's great.
Yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah. I found her when I was doing my stuff with Delphi. So, so props to TCD, True Crime Design. Okay, so you started making the videos, obviously doing your own research, kind of like we've done over here. So we're going to kind of work backwards in a way.
Okay.
Only because we had some major bombs drop here in the last, 24 hours.
Yep.
Okay. And one of those big bombs that I know I've been talking about, like, how are you going to put that car from Washington in and explain that to the jury that the car that they're seeing in Washington is the car that they are going to be seeing here in Moscow? Like, how are you going to do that you can't just poof, a car just shows up on Indian Hills at 3:26 a.m. You just can't do that. I mean, you can, but what the heck? So much so that they put in the probable cause that they did have the car and that they did have the phone. It was kind of, in concert, but everybody now knows that none of that was true.
Right.
They don't have the right car.
I don't think everybody knows that, but we know that. I don't think hardly any of the people out there that wouldn't want to believe it knows it. So,
well, that's true too. So I guess people that don't want to ask the questions, you have a car that has fog lights. You have a car that doesn't have fog lights.
And they knew it.
They
knew it. In that new report, it says that Hilly's the one that went and got all the footage from WSU from 2 to 6. So he got the footage. He looked at the cars. He knows the difference between a car with fog lamps and one without.
Well, I've always wondered how long did those videos all retain? Because if you're not going and getting those videos technically until Brian Kober was arrested, that's past 30 days. So
Yep.
it's, it was something like, why are you already preserving stuff over there before the 30 days if you're totally not even on that, wavelength? But if you look at the investigation, they clearly were working with Pullman, and they were working with Pullman way earlier.
Well, they should have preserved Wendy.com because it was all going to come down in the trial, if they ever had one. I believe that it was going to come down to the airport roadway, and that was going to be their fail-safe, and they didn't have Wendy.com to prove he didn't or did, and that's what they were going to imply, in my opinion.
Okay. In fact, so I want to pull that up actually so people can know kind of what we're discussing here, which is I'm going to use your latest video.
I'm on my 10th cup of coffee, by the way, so.
You are? Okay, it's the one that you did it's 104, right? Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. I think so.
I want to use this beginning part here. All right, so hang tight. I'm going to put us on over here and share this screen. Okay. So I want to go to a portion of this where, all right.
Nevada Street and Stadium Way, like the MPD put in the.
So this was actually the rebuttal. So when so right here, this is the, this is on December 24th, 2022. But if you look over here, the report was written in 2023. But he's saying
if you go down to where that report ends, that's the old report. Then the new report starts with the rebuttal.
Correct. And so what I wanted to just tell people is that Hill was going to be testifying for the state if there was a trial. Okay. And he was going to be, it was really weird because it was like their big thing was they were going to use Hill more for a rebuttal but he's the only person that could testify to this path of travel.
Yep.
And he could be based off of Hitler's rulings. He was basically telling them what order to go in. Like, you're going to have Hill go first because he's an expert and he's allowed to opine and give his opinions on stuff. Mm-hmm. Like Payne couldn't do that. Maury couldn't do that. I mean, it has to come through an expert. So when the state would have presented Hill to talk about, hey, we have this car over here at WSU, how are they going to go ahead and say that the car from WSU, right, is the car that's in Indian Hills at 326? Is there any way possible that they could have done that?
Well, they would have had an onslaught with putting the wrong car in the probable cause affidavit to begin with, but then I believe their argument was going to be there isn't any cameras here, and we've got a car at Floyd Cannabis Shop, because he actually wrote that in the rebuttal. First time I'd seen the FBI say anything about Floyd Cannabis Shop. So he gave two routes. One of them was impossible because it goes past the camera footage at Nevada Street and Stadium Way. We know there's not a vehicle there because we've all stared at it now for several hours. So the other way that he put two opinions, two routes he could have taken. The other one goes goes past the airport, the back way to Stadium Way. And that's what they were going to allege. And then Floyd's Cannabis Shop is where they were going to start it. How they get from Floyd Cannabis Shop to Indian Hills, I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, I guess my question is for everybody out there is, how are they going to be able to explain that they have all these cameras in Moscow and not one of them caught this car coming into town?
Did we ever learn, though, that they actually had the footage that Ann Taylor was looking for on Main Street there in Moscow? Because there was Red Star Coffee, several businesses. We never heard she was asking for it, but
yeah, that's what she was, she was trying to get. And I remember Payne acting like he had no idea what the hell she was talking about. And Maury's like, I wasn't collecting the videos. Well, yeah, you were. They were actually, you weren't collecting them. People were bringing them to you. Mm-hmm. And then you were downloading them. Nope. You know what I mean? You're just lying. But so for my first question here, for me, if I'm on the jury and a lot is weighing on this car, because that's how you found him, if you're not going to talk about the IGG, right? So how am I on the jury going to be like, oh yeah, this is totally this guy's car? Like I don't think people realize how big that is.
It's huge. It's half the case. You had the car and you had the DNA. So
Yeah. And so then I thought about it like this. I said, okay, if I'm Ann Taylor, you have to play kind of like strategy here with you want certain things to come in only so you can just like crush it to show how it's a lie, right?
right.
But then like you could also go the route of, well, I can do emotion lemony to keep certain things out, but then you're not able to use that then to like crush the credibility of certain people.
Well, and that's where I think she played really
the early
good,
morning hours of
holding things back. But then when the plea deal took place, all that strategy was now becomes the wrong strategy at a plea deal. She should have filed more motions and made better arguments.
I agree. The arguments were weak, 1,000%. And I think they were weak because I think she was timid about not showing all of her hand.
I do too. Yeah, I believe she was holding it back for trial.
1,000. I agree with that. Okay, so here for everybody with the timeline here, when Ashley Jennings is arguing, talking about a car can just turn around, and I'm over here like, Ashley, you have cameras. If the car just turned around and went one way and then made a U-turn and came back the other way, let's talk about this. It would be on the camera. So, like, I mean, how dumb do you expect these jurors to be? Because isn't that just such an easy argument for the defense to make? Like, Your Honor, we have cameras right here. If Ashley's talking about a car can just like turn around at any point, it's going to come back and then travel this way. We have the cameras here. Where's the car doing that?
Well, I don't know how they even cross it with the CSLI though, because his alternate route now, because he only gave two routes. He did 2 timed runs. One's impossible because it goes past the camera. The other way would have to go against any of their CSLI location data because it's going north and west. And they say he's going south and north and east. He's going south and west.
Okay. So then my next question is these timed routes from the point of they're saying, just so everybody knows, Hill went on the 24 in 2024. He decided 2 years later, mind you, hey, on July 17th, 2024, I'm going to go out to Pullman and I'm going to go park my car at Brian Kohlberger's address. And I'm going to take a stopwatch, take my car, put it in cruise control, and I'm going to drive 2 routes because I'm going to do a timed run of how long it will take me to get from Brian Kohlberger's. And I'm over here like, am I really reading this in a report? Why wouldn't this have been done in 2022, at the very least, at the beginning of 2023? But what's going on here?
I think they either are that dumb and they didn't realize that car wasn't Kohlberger's, or they thought maybe the defense wasn't going to pay close enough attention to it and not realize that car wasn't Kohlberger's.
Yeah, or that this would just be and this was going to be a quick plea deal because we railroaded a motherfucker.
Yeah, and we got you here, we got you here, we got you here. Oh shit, that's not you. Okay, well we got to go do some other stuff now.
So in his timed runs, he is saying that the time that it would take would be 11 minutes and 13 seconds. So if you take 2:45 plus 11 minutes, you're at what? 2:57?
2:56.
2:56? Okay. So then my next question is but the camera has this car being there at 3:02.
Yep.
Okay. And obviously that's a problem. Plus, like you just said, the data shows that he went a different way, right?
Right. So
then how long does it take to get from Floyd's, right, to Indian Hills?
Probably 4 or 5 minutes, maybe tops.
Well, I was going to say, how long did it take Jack D to do it when he went to King?
I think it took him like 8.
Yeah, like 7-8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So think about that. Then somebody please explain to me that he would have been on that camera at 2:56. He then would have been over in that area at just after 3:00 in the morning, like 3:01. And it's just like, you don't have any cameras where you can find this vehicle at any other place. So I'm of the opinion that the car on Indian Hills, do you believe that is, whose car do you think that is?
The car on Indian Hills, I think it is likely the 2013 Hyundai Elantra that comes back through at 404.
Okay. So do you think that all these sightings, when the car's circling, every time they want to start talking about it at 329 or 330, every time they're saying the 4 loops, that's the same vehicle?
When I look at it, and I've stared at it over and over and over, my humble opinion, my best guess, because I always look for things that, some things are consistent. There's always an inconsistency. Mm-hmm. When the car comes through the first time and it makes the pass at 330, mm-hmm. and it pulls out and it goes down to Paradise, it heads west, and then I think it goes off the chart until about 4 o'clock. There's another car, because it doesn't follow the same consistent path. The other car comes down and makes a U-turn twice, and then you mm-hmm. never see it again. And it's a different, it's different than the way the first car went. If it was going to be consistent, they would have done it consistently the same time every time. And there's no way to tell what that car is making the U-turn at Paradise the other 2 times. The first one, though, it looks like an Elantra.
Okay, perfect. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go this way with it. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so wait, hold on. Whoopsies. I'm trying to add this back on for us. Okay, there we go. All right. Question here for our whoopsies. I got so many freaking tabs up. Okay, so let's go to we finally got the video of body cams. Mm-hmm. Would the jurors find that the crime scene was contaminated by MPD to the point that the defense would be able to argue it that anything at that scene is unreliable?
I think if they wanted to argue it, they could.
Do you think that
they could argue that everything was contaminated? Anybody could see that if they wanted to. I don't think they would have wanted to argue it, though, after looking at all the forensics and what it actually shows. Mm-hmm. I think contamination would have been the last thing that they'd want to argue.
Okay. And then, well, since we're right there with that question, let's be real about this then. How would you argue to the jury that the blood inside the house and outside on the glove seemed to be of little importance to the investigation? Would you not try to make that argument? That how would you have tied in Dylan's statements about going on a deep clean the week prior because it was parents' weekend, and then here you have the murders and there's unknown male blood mixed with victims' blood on the banister, the wall, things like that? I mean,
well, one of the things that that they brainwashed us with over the years is the single source male profile on the knife sheath. Single source, we've heard that 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. Well, when you look at the breakdown of what they found on unknown male B on the handrail, it's 93%. I mean, it's almost a single source, and then the glove outside is a single source. So there's really no excuse for not at least running them through CODIS.
I also just the fact that it doesn't match what caught me crazy is that you have this sheath, and now I know why Jay was arguing it a certain way. And he said, you want us to believe that the FBI was so hung up on the possibility that, oh, wait, there's going to be touch DNA on that sheath versus let's focus on the blood stain and what could be mixed in on that blood stain. Like, which one would you be more concerned with? That you could even think that you're like, oh my God, here's blood. Let's see what's on it. And exactly. It was like to all of us when you try to tell people, you know, there was blood on that sheath, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, you know, that there was blood on that sheath that was not the victims and not Brian Koberger's. And they're like, what? And I'm like, exactly when they're saying what, like, and we have no one else to blame but the investigators who are the arm of the prosecution who was leaking false information to the media. And then the media is just running with shit. And it's what the hell? When is this? How can this be? How are we letting this stand as citizens here?
Well, when you look at the reports on the day that they actually matched, like they got Koberger's dad's DNA and they went to do the CODIS match to, to the sample of the male E sample or whatever, that was the day that they actually processed the forensics on the unknown male B. So until they had that day where they're matching up Koberger's dad to the sample, they hadn't even, they hadn't done anything. And none of the other samples came back till after they arrested Koberger. And from the time they arrested him, there's not been one that I've seen, one piece of forensic evidence that said, okay, you got the right guy. It's all said something different. So it's crazy. And they tore his car freaking apart. They tore his car down to little parts. Parts looking for stuff. They looked.
And when I had, I love Scott Roeder, and he's like, Lana, you're either going to find in that vehicle, this is before, that vehicle is either going to be a sign of a cleanup or there's going to be something in there because there is something that you're going to be taking away from that crime scene. And when there was nothing, that's when he was like, and there's no sign of a cleanup. I was like, yeah, no. And that's what Ann Taylor harped on. She was like, guys, not only is there nothing in this car, but there is no sign of a cleanup. And all we heard was that the car had been so cleaned. And it's like, no, there's no chemicals in there. There's nothing in there. This car was not cleaned. And at the end of the day, if Brian Kohlberger's the guy, I don't think he went there in that vehicle. So he could be the guy, but he didn't go there in that car.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, and I think where Ann Taylor she had a little bit against her when she was making the argument, because she was really arguing against the arrest warrant. And they didn't have any of the information about no DNA in his apartment, his car, or anything until after he was arrested. So she was arguing for the arrest warrant, and all they have to do is say, well, that's what we had at the time, Your Honor.
Yeah. Yeah. She was, yes. Because I think how she was also trying to argue is like, it's almost like that it couldn't stand. The arrest couldn't stand. So how she was trying to argue it was to say, okay, great, you arrested this guy, but now all of this stuff has come back and none of it points to my client. We don't have a connection here. We don't even have any evidence here. What the heck? How did you arrest this man? And you're basically hiding your entire case, right? Like, because she didn't even we had the luxury of receiving this discovery, or the parts that we have. Here you go. Here's 314 pages, or reports rather, and we get them all at once. Ann Taylor had to fight and basically make requests which actually resulted in people writing up reports for something that they did a couple years, back, or a couple months ago. That's crazy.
Well, if you look at the recent docs that were released, that was a state's response to the defense's request for discovery. It's got forensic reports in there. So did they give them to her twice, or was that the first time she had seen those? This was back in March?
Yep. So remember when she was making those comments and she was like, Your Honor, we just found out at this hearing that something that we've been asking for, they've had this whole time, and it was the lab's protocols, the labs. She's been over here asking for bent all of this stuff. We just found this out. And here's something I want to show you is about finding something out. I'm big on, obviously, give me data, give me I want to build a timeline. I want to keep everything as possibilities until we can eliminate things.
Yep.
There's possibilities, but there's probabilities, and then there's logic. Okay.
Yep.
And inferences. You can make inferences off of things. And so I was all about this whole geofence. I'm like, dude, why would they be so all about Molly's number, or her anonymous ID? If it was something that at the time we didn't know this, but the investigators knew that they were looking for something to occur. If you're going to go with what Dylan and Bethany said in their text messages, this occurred almost at 4:30 in the morning, 4:20. Okay. So if Molly is out of Dodge by 4 o'clock, right? What's the hang up with Molly? Especially right after the fact that you find out that she was a delivery person, right?
I don't know, because they sure had to go through a lot to even find Molly.
Well, check this out. So I don't know, did you plot those points with the geofence? Because I did that this morning. I want to show you this map.
Oh, awesome.
So this is what I did this morning. I was like, I got to have this ready for you. Let me share this screen. Okay, here we go. This is the geofence. And I just fell off my chair. Okay. So right here is the first plotting point that they did. Over here to the left, it's the one that's at the corner of Walenta and Taylor, up in the top left. Is my thing sharing properly? Let me make sure.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, I'm gonna make it bigger. Okay. And then the second point that they wanted was down here where basically the start of the driveway is for the Moyes house over here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not quite. It's in between because the Moyes is up a little bit more, or down a little bit more rather. So, but, and then the third point, so it's usually like a square or a circle. Now check this out. Now you have to go all the way over here to the right, which is right where Linda Lane is, kind of like right behind where the cameras were at Linda Lane.
Mm-hmm.
And they put 2 points, literally. It's not like there's just one there. Oopsies, I got too close. Oopsies, what happened there? Wait a second. That's not what I wanted. Okay, they put basically what I was expecting to see is that, do you see how there's 2 circles there?
Yep.
Okay. And I'm like, what the heck are they doing? There was supposed to be a point that would be like right over here on the Taylor and Linda Lane, like at that corner, to make yourself have this square area. Okay. To make like a, this is like supposed to be like you can see that you're missing a point up here at the corner of Linda Lane and where Taylor would be. That's what should have completed your little area that they did this geofence in.
So they did a right triangle instead?
Yeah, they made exactly. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, those are the points. Now, again, this was what was written up. So, of course, like, take it for what it is, but it's straight from the supplemental number 57, the Google geofence warrant. And then the 2 identifiers come back. And I'm over here thinking, it said, based on the information received and in correlation with cell tower records previously reviewed, 2 of the anonymous identifiers were found to be of interest. Those identifiers were, and originally those were blacked out for us. Now they're unredacted.
Oh, you got the other one?
Yeah, well, I got the phone number.
Oh, they unredacted the phone number on that? I didn't even see that. I'm dying to know who the other one is.
Well, it's a guy. So we've done some work over here, and again, don't take it as gospel, but I believe that this person is a person that could potentially be in his 50s or 60s from Rathdrum.
From Rathdrum?
Bizarre. Yeah. Over there where Kaylee and Maddie are from. But I was thinking, wouldn't you want to do some, how come we have no interviews? This person was only concerned with Molly. And then Molly goes, so hear me out with this whole, where I was going with this.
Yeah.
If Molly gets out of Dodge and it is leaving and is out of the geofence, I got 401, 402. What's your hang up with Molly? Unless she didn't leave the geofence at 401, like that car that's leaving. Yeah, that car leaves, sure. But it seems to me, if you have any interest in Molly, that phone had to stay in the geofence after 4:01 a.m.
Well, I think one thing to take into consideration, if you look right when they're locating who Molly is through all of their, a lot of effort to figure out who those two phones are. Excuse me, who those 2 phones are. That's right at the 22nd and the 23rd, right in that area. Mm-hmm. And that's right when they find the video, or where Vargas notices the guy walking towards the house at 350. So I know that they thought the guy walking toward the house clad in black, they're thinking he's an assailant, and anything between that time and that area and the crime, I think they wanted to uncover. So Molly being there at 4, right in between when that guy's walking over, they probably didn't even know that was Molly. They probably thought they were uncovering the guy clad in black that was walking.
Oh, who was walking at 351?
Yep.
Yeah, because I was talking about that yesterday about, look at truly what was going on at 351. They tried to blame that dude they were trying to use everything that was going on to get every type of search warrant. So they knew that things weren't, that's how the cops operate. hey, yep, we can just say that this person, we believe that this person could potentially be Jack Showalter. This is giving us probable cause to go into his home. Now we believe, since, okay, he's not Jack Showalter, who is that guy? Who is the girl? Who is the 350 person? You don't think that would be something that you'd be trying to figure out?
Who's the dumpster guy?
I mean, like, where is there any reports of you interviewing unless it all happened with the FBI? Which brings me to, ready? I'm going to pull up Hector now. And this is going to be one of your favorites. This is when I was watching you do one of the lives. I was like, he's just writing in those names. I was like, he's going to town on those names on these reports. And I'm like, okay. So here we go. We're going to reveal it. It's been out here now. Here we go. Now, date evidence accepted. Now, according to how these print off, is that after, like, these wouldn't have been all the names in there on 11/21/2022, right?
I believe those are all the names that they had. I mean, all the names that they had on anybody they got buckles, they're in different reports, and now they're all unmasked. Everyone that they created a receipt for anyway.
Okay, so my question then here is, do you believe that all of these names right here that you're seeing, that these were all subjects by 11/21?
And that's report number 10?
Yeah. Or is it because of the way that supposedly ISP's operating system works, is that when you go to print stuff after the fact, it then takes everything that you would have ever had. Yeah. So
it actually, I can tell you exactly what date that they did that, because if you go to the report of when they created the buckle swab, it'll give you the pretests, and it dates the pretest of when they actually pull the evidence in and they start to look at it. And I know all these in this particular category, except for Jack, but all these came together in one bundle. This first lump of them, and then you've got a second lump that comes together with Reed Upmore, and then all the other ones that they just released that we now have. We now know what their names are. Some of them I've never heard of. So,
touche. So let's just really quickly run down really quick each one of these names. Why would they ever even consider Jose Cruz? If you believe anything that Dylan Mortensen is telling you, Jose Cruz is about the size of me. Okay. He's 5 nothing.
But he's the first one they really went after. They put a stake out on him.
They did, didn't they? They're like, we're going to get you some, bitch.
Yep.
We want you and all your friends. Okay. So in case you guys don't know who Jose Cruz is, Jose Cruz was in 2021, he was living in the same kind of like duplex as the girls on WSU's campus, who they said he came in, ran downstairs, and then one of the girls kicked him, and it was just a big, whatever. That came, and there's nothing from it.
Huge news stories, though. All the news picked it up, talking about, well, Kohberger could have been the one that committed Jose Cruz's crime, but all this comes out. Nobody said anything about, dang, Jose Cruz was actually a suspect in this case. Nobody said one word.
Insanity. Okay, so Jeremy Reagan. Now, Jeremy's decided to go on the television screen and say, oh my God, all these people are saying that I'm the killer. Dude, nobody knew who this man was, okay? Also, people get him confused with the fact that he's not the guy that was walking his dog that saw the door open. That was Justin N. And how valuable do you think, because that's on the defense's witness list if there was to be a trial, I think he is just so valuable. Like, it's just top notch, because I think he's really, really credible, seeing that he gave his statement and actually reached out to law enforcement to tell them, hey, I think you guys probably already know this already, but when I walked my dog on the way walking and coming back, that front door was wide open. How valuable is that? That's the Justin dude. Justin N. I can never say his last name right. And Ann Taylor was going to be going hard with him as a witness. He was the athletic trainer. Right? I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand with where the blood is on the railing and wall when that's like somebody leaving out that way, not the backslider.
Well, there's somebody got attacked right there because some of the blood is not transfer. When you go through the notes that it was just released, I went this morning and read every individual note. And I've been studying a little bit on blood stain patterns and stuff like that. But a lot of the stains around the first and second floor in that area had tails. And whenever it has a tail,
yep.
It means it's being projected.
Yep. There's some gravity on
there's
that.
A couple of them that are transferred, but most of them had tails, and there's too many of them to account for too far away from where you could actually, touch it to transfer it. Hell, one of them's up on the wall.
Yep. And you do a nice job with that with one of your displays on where you color kind of coordinate and show who's where and where. I really like that. I think that's only in your members only though, isn't it? Is that one out there though? The blood one?
I believe I put them all
okay,
out.
that's a really good video.
You have to watch a long video to see it.
It's really good.
Most people are like, I'm going to choke Pavarotti before it gets to that point, and they turn it off.
Right. Well, it's like if you want me to really explain it to you, I can't just jump into something and just be like, hey guys, remember this and this? Okay, now we're going to bring it in with a nice bow. Yep. So there is some time that has to go into explaining what somebody's looking at.
Yep.
But that was, I really enjoyed that. I enjoy diagrams. I enjoy breaking it all down and just logic. And Taylor's saying, hey guys, guess what? I'm going to bring somebody in here that says, this was a staged crime scene. There was a cleanup. Okay. This did not happen in 2 minutes. And I talked to Scott Roeder when I had him on. He said, Lana, this was somebody that was cool, calm, and collected. You see, like, nobody's running around. The gravity drop. Look at this. He's like, and I want to make some arguments that the person in the upstairs bedroom left-handed, or at least was using their left hand for some of those blows. And I was like, what? Like, I was like loving the information. I was like, because he's explaining it. This is what he does for a living. He learned from the best. He's very, very good at what he does. And he's like, trust me, he's not a Brian Kober fan, but he's looking at evidence. He's going to tell you, hey, this is what this shows. He's not going to, oh, who's this case on for? Okay, now I'm just going to make shit up. No. But I was like, whoa. He's like, I was like, yeah, do you think this was done in 2 minutes? He's like, what?
Now, how long ago was it that y'all had that conversation?
Oh, God. It was right when they first released. So in August, probably in August.
I guarantee you that the same person, if you showed him the report, there's a report that is the pretest report where they go through and they list every one of the actual blood stains that the ISP originally marked. Mm-hmm. And then the ISPFS, when they went back a couple of days later, they took those blood stains and then they used the Amido black on some of it to find the rest of them. Mm-hmm. If you go through each one of the areas, they didn't test but maybe a fourth of the blood stains and actually get results on them. But they did test if they were positive for blood or not. The first floor stairway, mm-hmm. there's 12 different blood samples there. On the stairway with the switchback stairs, there's 5.
What wall is on? Tested one. So when you're walking up the stairs to go from the first floor to the second floor, what wall is on?
It's on the inside. They call it the south wall.
Gotcha.
Of the stairway between the first and the second floor. They call it the south half wall.
Okay.
So there's stains on the south half wall. There's stains on top of it. There's stains on the other side. But where the stains are, it even tells you in the notes what step. Like it starts at the 3rd step. And then it goes all the way up to the top steps. And it tells you exactly where the stains are and what type of blood stain it is. It's crazy. Because when you get to the switchback stairs, there's 5 different stains there, and I believe 4 of them were transfers. And there shouldn't be 4 transfer stains in the switchback stairs, even with contamination. They only tested 1 though, and that was Maddie's, and it was 100% Maddie. So it's crazy. I bet if you get a real crime scene specialist, not some jacko like me, and look at what's real now, I guarantee you they'll come with completely different conclusions than they previously had.
Oh yeah, that's what I love about Roeder. I'll like lay it all out for him and I'll just say like, tell me where I'm wrong. I'm not trying to be right about anything. I'm trying to understand this, but how I look at this evidence, even just logically, like we all went to science class, guys. We all participated in science class, right? And it's like when something doesn't make sense, I don't know. I was always raising my hand and being like, wait, what? Like, let's break this on down. And it's like, hey, so to me, some stuff maybe like I just feel like it's common sense, but to other people, they're like, wait, no. And it's like, how if this dude killed everybody and went out the slider, how in the world is there any blood anywhere on the stairwell in any capacity going? And that's all I would want to ask Outroaders. Reenact that to make it where what the movements of the person leaving out of Xana's room, because that's the only way that I could ever see this possible, leaving out of Xana's room to leave, how them flaying around would possibly recreate what we were seeing on the first in that stairwell.
And you'd have cross-contamination of their blood. I mean, you've got, like with Xana's blood, it's all Xana. There's nothing that has Xana mixed with anything. And it starts at the bar cart and goes back. She doesn't have anything past the bar cart. So, and it's all 100% Xana, no cross-contamination between her and Ethan either. So unless there's some magic report that they haven't released, which I know for a fact that there's one report missing, and it's just kind of.
What number do you have that as? Is that the one that's the big?
Let's see.
They're trying. That's not. It's the one with what's her name?
Well, I don't know what's in it because it's just the whole report that's missing that they didn't release. It's in, let's see, I'll tell you exactly what number it would be. Dated January. Its report number, it goes from, let's see, 38, 39.
Is it 42?
40, 41. Yeah, it's 42.
Okay, yeah. All right, that's the big one. So when Hitler just did his last release, did he make a comment on that one? Is that the one that he made the comment on?
Let's see. Unseal. Well, you know, the way he puts in here, it's almost a mission to have to go through and even figure out which one it is.
Yeah, we're good. We'll look. That can be later. Okay, so
There I am.
Jeremy Reagan. Okay, so then Mason, who do you think was tossing around Mason's name?
Now, see, I don't know. That's where you're amazing, because when you get into all of the college students, that's where I read their reports and I go, there's nothing there, and I may be overlooking stuff by doing that, but that's where I'm not near as detailed on the students.
Okay, so we'll come back to Mason here. Now, were you kind of shocked when you saw is that Kayla's brother, right?
Yeah, and that's the one that's on the witness list for the defense. And when I watched her interview and, she was talking about how she had a close relationship with Quinn, I thought, well, dang, I bet Coy does as well then. But I was thinking he may be one of the ones that they were really diving into in Boise, but it was Chestnut. It's Chestnut.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, and that was what I was just going to say is, look at his name, nowhere Chestnut. But then
because it's a whole different investigation. It's a separate investigation.
And now is Chestnut,
they have two separate investigations.
Okay, so we'll talk about that now.
Okay. And that's why I wanted to get your opinion on is why would they do that? Because you got Barenberg, Showalter, Chestnut, they're all in the D2 non-homicide investigation, but it started on the same day as this investigation, and it's a separate forensic numbers. It's the lead detective's Talbot. It's not Blaker. And in the forensic reports, they're completely separate forensic reports. Like it starts at report 1 versus report 1 in the 8-4. What is it? 8-4, whatever the dang number is for the main case. That one's 8770. The other one's 4843. I got dyslexia now or something. 4843. The other one's 8770.
Has there been any FOIA requests on that?
Oh, they released them all in the forensic documents. They're at the end.
Okay.
If you go all the way past the notes, it starts back over at 1, and that is Showalter, Barenberg, and Chestnut, where they're getting their prints and their buckle swabs. But it goes all the way back to the original date.
Okay, so is Chestnut the kid? Do you believe this could potentially be true? Is Chestnut the kid that Jack Showalter was with, who was texting and talking about his back being thrown out?
That's the kid, yeah. That's the one they had surveillance on in Boise. And because of the discrepancy, they said they were at McDonald's. And
yes. Can you believe that's what they were getting hung up about? Like, it's like, you don't think that maybe they just, because then doesn't it come out that they took like a sober driver to actually go to McDonald's? So then they were looking for the wrong car.
I don't know it. I know that their text and their statements and their video that they went and verified didn't add up. So I also know that there's that one dang guy that keeps popping up, and he only pops up on certain reports and certain instances, and that's Ryan O'Neill. And Ryan O'Neill, I've pulled his whole background. All he's ever done is confidential informant handler. That's all he does.
Yes, and he was the one that decided to say that so-and-so was not credible, right?
Yeah.
The kid that was talking about, broken.
He's the one that's leading Connor Chestnut and Showalter's investigation in Boise. He gets their fingerprints, and then when they try to do the match originally, they say that the fingerprints that he got from them was insufficient.
Yep.
So that's when you get into the L5 and L6. It's kind of a weird deal.
So Cortez and that group is the ones that were following Chestnut, the Idaho State Police, and I think it was is it 3 or is it 6 for over there? Anyways, it was like a group of like 6-7 dudes. And I'm like, what are they doing?
Well, but they're being led in that though by O'Neill. He's orchestrating it. You can see because he keeps popping up on their documents, and he's doing the physical stuff.
So my thought on this is that that would be like the drug angle with that. That's my thought.
Yeah, I think they were trying to tie him to Quinn. There's no doubt, because when you go from their suspect list and after they get their buckle swabs and their fingerprints, all of a sudden there's 2 suspects, 2 witnesses, and now it turns into 4 witnesses. So it looks to me like maybe some cooperating witnesses, possibly. Maybe they told something.
Okay. All right, so then let's go into a little bit. Then we're going to back up with Dylan and Bethany. All right. How important is it? I think this is huge. Like, hands down, this would be the most important thing that I would be driving home to the jury. It was never Dylan that called Bethany. It was Bethany that calls Dylan. And so therefore this whole Dylan seeing everything and then calling everybody like that narrative has to go out the window. If Bethany calls Dylan and alerts her, like, because Bethany's like, hey, did you just hear that? Or, hey, what is that Murphy barking? What's this dog that keeps barking? Because it's Bethany calling Dylan. And they talk for 26 seconds. Then we have like a minute and a half where Dylan does her little, texting and calling people, and then calls Bethany back, and they have a 46-second conversation. So how do you think Ann Taylor was going to go about explaining? We know what the state was claiming. What was going to be Ann Taylor's way of either keeping the crime at that time, or was she going to move it up or down?
Well, I believe she was definitely going to try to move it up, not up like earlier. She was going to try to move it to 4:30 and beyond the 45 minutes the dog was barking. In my humble opinion,
yes, I agree.
That was going to be their strategy. So I don't know how they were going to attack that particular point with Dylan and Bethany, other than the fact that I believe if you line up, I think they were, because the grand jury testimony shows that Bethany said that she heard something and made the call, and that was the first call, or that's what they testified to anyways. And Dylan testified that she called back and then said she heard the guy in the mask. If you dive in really close, because they did the test with the door shut and the trunk.
Yep.
If you crank up the audio at 1112, you hear the trunk and the door shut at 4:18. she doesn't make the call. I think this would have been Ann Taylor's move. She doesn't make the call to Dylan to say that she heard something until 4:19.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan doesn't make the call back to Bethany to say that she's seen a man in the mask till 4:20 and 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
They've already heard the trunk and the door shut in the white car. Never does it again. Then the white car takes off. I think Ann Taylor was going to say that she seen the guy in the mask. He was in the house. That car was already gone. The crime took place for the next 30 minutes.
Exactly. And originally it was, I thought she was going to move it up until more documents started coming out. I'm like, oh my God, she's totally going to move this down, because that's your golden ticket, in my opinion, is, and I don't believe that it's Murphy barking. I believe that it's the Simon Gettys of the world over there with, I want to hear more about Matt Moyer and Tyler Moyer, and Ann Taylor put Simon Getty and Tyler on the witness list. And I'm like, holy shit.
But I think Ann Taylor would have probably wanted that to be Murphy with that argument, though. She wants Murphy barking because a crime's taking place, because the car's already gone.
Well, I think there's multiple dogs.
Oh, I think there is too. But I think Ann Taylor would want. I mean, I think she would want it to be Murphy.
But why would the dogs at 1260 Valenta be barking unless somebody's coming back into that area?
Well, I believe they were going to argue that the crime was taking place in the house during that time, though. And that's why Murphy was barking, because the state was going to allege Murphy barking was the crime. So they were going to just use the state's argument. Murphy's barking's the crime. Well, Murphy doesn't stop barking for 30, 45 minutes. So there's the time of your crime. And whether or not, Zan and Ethan got home at what time was probably going to be in there too.
How do you think she was going to then handle, remember when she was arguing and she was talking about, Your Honor, we have the dog, somebody basically brings the dog inside, was what she was, like human hands basically dealt with the dog. And Hitler's over here saying, well, no, the sliding door is open. So the dog left out that way and just came right back in that way. Like, that's how that happened. And it's just like, what? Okay.
I don't know if she had something up her sleeve or not, but she obviously knew that the dog didn't walk in there and not get any blood on him, and he's laying on the bed.
Right.
Of course, the picture that I see of Murphy from the crime scene photos, he's jammed under a desk and he's got a freaking chair sitting on top of him so he can't get out. So, I mean, I don't know how he's laying on the bed all nice and nonchalant, and then somebody shoves him under a desk and traps him in with an office chair.
Dang. Okay, what about, let's talk a little bit about the we gotta go here. The undercovers. Hands down, you filled out a report on 11/15 and you flat out, we can prove it's now a complete lie. There's no way that those undercovers made loops around Linda Lane like they claim that they did that night. It's 1,000% impossible unless you want to say that Linda Lane is from a different night, that camera footage is not from that night.
Let me ask you this, Lana. If you're Tisdale, this is 2 days later, because he writes the report on November 15th. What possible reason could you possibly contemplate for you to write in a report exactly what he had wrote in that report and then turn it in as what he did? Is there any possible reason that somebody would be that stupid to make that up and lie about that and put them as suspect vehicle?
So there's a couple things. First thing is I want to know whoever asked Tisdale to write a report. He had nothing to do with this case. If you would be looking at it like he has nothing to do. So who asked him to write a report in the first place? Somebody would have had to ask him, hey, I want you to write up a report, what you were doing with your detail. You know what I mean? That tells me that there's intel, there's knowledge. Oh my God, that's where you guys were, or what our plan was that night and what we were actually doing to catch, I think they were doing controlled buys, just like they do over there at WSU. They're running controlled buys. So
I don't think so. I think everybody in that town knows Rosie and Tisdale. I don't think.
No, not them. No, they weren't doing the controlled buys.
You think they were overseeing controlled buys?
Yes.
Okay.
They were overseeing the controlled buys with their little CI people, because that's some stuff that I talked with Dave about.
I was going to say, other than Molly, I don't think they'd ever be able to sell anything. or buy anything.
Yeah, no, I think that it was they had people doing it with the college with the frat.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I talked to Dave about. And but it would be like, so they're overseeing it, right? And I'm over here like, okay, well, somebody told them to write up a report, and maybe it could have even been Tisdall and Rosie saying, hey, so and so saw us, or these people, if they're going to be saying X, Y, and Z, I mean, let's get in front of something here before. Why would you write a report? How about this? If I'm going to write a report, why would I ever lie about actually what I did? On the 15th, they knew what existed.
In so much detail, you lied. You're not just lying. You're lying in, detail like, hey, look, I drove up here, made a right, went over here, made a right. And I did it multiple times, and it's the same way each time. You're not just lying. You're lying on another level, and you're lying a lie that will benefit nobody ever in any way.
And so what makes sense to me in a way is that if they thought, hey, we need to have, it's like they knew about the path of travel with the suspect vehicle at first. And so we need to have somebody claiming that, because if we're going to go after someone like a Jack D or a Jack Showalter, we're going to need to have a answer for what that car is doing. And so it's almost like they made themselves that and then realized, fuck, now we're going to go this route. And I think that's what Ann Taylor was going to argue and say, is that you made yourself that car so early on in the case, and that's how much you were going after or going to be pinning this on somebody else until then the person of the pinning changed. That's what it looks like to me. And then you're almost screwing yourself, because I think that's why Ann Taylor was going to argue and say that you knew that a white car was over there at the Indian Hills area because y'all were there.
One thing that I always try to do is just try to keep everything as close to reality as I can. And I try to take all of everything and try to make it make the most sense from every perspective. And that's why I tried for so long to say, okay, well, this body cam freaking time at the Banfield stop's off. But it's not. It verifies up now that we got the other footage, so it's right.
Yeah.
But in my mind, everything he says, there's no reason for them to lie like that. And the last statement that he makes of him driving through and seeing the car, it just corroborates too perfectly with Molly's statement of where she parked, what time she parked, and when he drove through there. I'm bending reality and I'm being stupid for thinking this way, but there is no way I can get my mind off of Rosie and Tisdale, or at least Tisdale, is the 356 car.
1,000. Well, yeah. And yes, but even more so though, it's like, when you're going to go ahead and say, like, I would remember what I did 2 days ago. Okay. I would know, okay, what type of loot. Yeah, this is what we did. Like, you would come on, that's your job. Okay. You're not in that line of work. And oh my God, wait, how do we do things that night? You have every resource available to go back and check and to see, and you would have been able to pinpoint when you damn made those loops that you're claiming. We know you didn't do, but did you do them on foot? And were you wanting to say that you were driving, but
he can't though, because we've got Linda Lane and we've stared at that thing so long.
Oh, yeah,
nobody even walks through there, Lana. He couldn't claim it. Nobody, you could see when they walk through there. If he walked through, he'd be on camera. It just doesn't exist.
I just want to know who called the shot to say, write that report. Because I think that report blows.
And it's not like you wouldn't know what happened during the biggest crime your town ever had. Oh shit. That's when they had that big catastrophe atrocity. What was I doing then? You would know.
You would start thinking about all the people that you know, and you know that area and who you saw, because they had to drive right past us, or you know what I mean? Or we were over.
Unless you really weren't dumping out all those White Claws, you were acting like it and drinking them.
I would just think that those would be the two most people that you'd be talking to if you're like, who's ever running this investigation. Hey, you two, come on in here. What the hell was going on last night? You guys were running the plainclothes. What was going on? Like that's who you're talking to. Where's that report to say that you're having that type of a discussion with an officer? That's not worthy of a report.
It's things like that make me want to drive to Moscow and grab the whole defense team and everybody in one room and slap them like the Three Stooges, because I didn't get to see this play out at trial. And then I get to look at this after the fact, and you got this freaking police report with these knuckleheads, and I don't get to see what you were going to do with this. I got to guess. Give me a freaking break.
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
Well, I don't understand how. You notice how nobody in mainstream media is talking about this case anymore. Talk about getting paid off.
Man, I mean, I could do 20 videos a day. I mean, I couldn't catch up and never touch the same thing twice because there's so much and it's all ridiculous. It's not like, well, you're making stuff up, Pop. I don't have to. That's my whole point. I don't have to make up anything. It's all right there.
It's ridiculous on its face. Yeah, it's you know, the other part about it is it's like you just said, there is so much content. It's never ending. It's not like we're not talking about the same thing over and over and over. That's why people feel like they're so lost when they miss a day or two. It's like, wait, what are you talking about? Oh, did you not see the video yesterday, the day before? No. Oh, you need to go see, because everybody thinks that this case was just so open and shut. I personally believe you got blood in the house. It doesn't belong to Brian Koberger. And if I'm a parent of one of those kids, I'm thinking that multiple people killed and were involved in the killing of my kid, and how I wouldn't have an issue with that. I would want anybody that had anything to do with this is going down.
Yep.
And it's like, how does a parent say, wait, there's blood? Oh, who cares? There's no parent that's ever going to say that.
Well, unless they've just been lied to, you know, so much by everybody that was involved in prosecuting and all the people they talked to. They just kept telling them, oh, yeah, no, this is it. This is what happened. He did it. And maybe they just convinced them. But if you open your eyes and you look at any of this, which they are, some of them are.
Oh, hell yeah. I know that they are. And I think that there's some parents that aren't saying they're okay with this. Okay. And from what I'm hearing is that everyone's on the same page and that there should have never been a plea deal because people were lied to. And that's why the plea deal ever happened, because you soften up how this whole thing went down. And now the reality's here. And those parents that were, okay, yep, plea deal, are like, now they're like, no, we would have never said plea deal. There's another weapon that's used with Kaylee. There's all this damage. And y'all want to say that this happened in 2 minutes by one person and they didn't get anything in that vehicle. How dumb that's just stupid.
Or in his apartment or his house. I mean,
it's stupid.
That's why I really enjoyed watching that. Watching all the hearings for the Zach Adams case, because they put his attorney on the stand and they go, tell us what happened. And she said, well, I thought he was guilty. They told me he's going to have DNA. So I got 4 terabytes of discovery and I couldn't put it together. So I went through it and then I was looking for the evidence and I kept looking and finally went, well, there's no evidence. I mean, why is he even, being tried here? And then it went from there, but that they didn't have evidence. So they got a bunch of people to do some talking. And that's why I'm scared that Molly McMichael, we read the report. We've seen her interview where the car pulls through and she says it was gold or whatever. The guy was a spiky-haired, red-headed guy. He had a little bit of a beard. I mean, didn't identify anything close to Koberger, which made Payne go, well, maybe that's not even that car. Maybe she's seen this other car. No, she's seen that car. But we've never heard any of the interviews after that Molly has done. After Koberger was arrested, they went to Dylan and said, hey, is this the guy that you saw? I don't know. It didn't ring a bell, but how do we know that they didn't go back to Molly and go, all right, well, here you go, Molly. We've made the arrest. Is this the guy you saw in the car? Yeah, I saw Bri parked right next to him. Like she was telling people in the body cam. We just haven't seen that yet.
No 6-packs were given to anybody to see if they could identify him ever being around, ever going to a party. Especially if you're trying to find a connection, why wouldn't you have done that? You would have.
I mean, you got oh crap, I forgot her name. What's Ann Taylor, Lisa Massoth? She got a new trial, really got him exonerated because they didn't retry him for a suggestive police lineup. he was tall and all the people in the police lineup was short. She filed post-conviction relief, got him exonerated over ineffective counsel for not hitting harder on a suggestive police lineup. Like, man, we didn't even have a police lineup. She said, I seen a guy, he had a mask and he had eyebrows. Oh, well, that's him. Yeah, let's go ahead and admit that as evidence. Yeah, that's eyewitness identification there. Lineup? What do you mean lineup?
What's that?
Yeah, you don't need a lineup if you've seen their eyebrows.
All right.
I've got us totally off our list here, don't I?
No, we're good. We're good, Rob. I got this list just banging over here. Here's the next point. Here's the next point. Okay. Who are the most important witnesses in this case to the state?
I mean, the only witnesses they have are their experts.
Okay.
In my humble opinion, they don't have any witnesses other than maybe their character witnesses after the fact that they interviewed at the college, but I don't even know if that'd be admissible. Did she win that argument?
Well, I was just going to go into that. So good. You just said what I was going to go into. So Nick Balance was going to be, obviously he was about to get voir dired. Okay. Do you think that he goes and lies? How do you think that he would have handled those questions? I
think he would have been annihilated, and you and I both know it.
So, but to the point of in the voir dire, because remember, she had, in order to have the AT&T stuff in, you have to voir dire him.
Oh, you're talking about she was gonna outside the presence of the jury.
Well, yeah, because that's the only way that you're able to bring up the fact that did they have Brian Kober's timing advance?
I think he would have not. He'd have denied it.
So you think that he would have been like, I have no idea?
He would have denied it. Yeah, he'd have denied it and said that they weren't available or cited some kind of confidentiality rule. I don't think he would have admitted it.
Okay. And then, okay, so the identification of the car. Emil was provided on different days, different pictures, stills, and videos. Okay. The state's going to have to explain this timeline, which they're not going to do it like that. They're going to just have him go up there and say that he was given, these videos, and from this video I determined. But how would you be able to, if you're the state, because I know how I would defend against it, but how are you going to just push along to this jury that, hey, there were 7 charts that I came up with that it could be potentially that car. Why is there no reports of any officers going and looking for anything other than the white Elantra if you gave 7 options? How does that not get like the biggest yeah. He said that it could be potentially 7 cars. How do you determine that, okay, out of those 7, we only care about, put the bolo out for just the white Elantra. And then before you put the bolo out to all of us, you put it out internally to the police. And, we lost him. How do you do that? Like, how does that not just get completely annihilated in trial? I just don't think people realize the fuckerage in this case. Did you get frozen? I'll be back in a second. All right. Well, as Pav is getting his way back on, thank you so much. Just because I appreciate you, Lana. Thank you. Make yourself known. Thumbs up the video. Thumbs it down. You have an opinion. Make yourself known. We are at an hour in, and it's just nonstop. Here's the 2026. Thank you. 33 months, Jen. 33 months. Coffee Cake, 25 months. What's up, girl? Gracefully Salty, 5 memberships. What is up, Paisan? 2 awesome creators together. Thank you both. Thank you. Sleuth. Sleepy Kitty. Well, this is fun. Cheers. Happy New Year. Frisco Chick, member for 3 months. Chantel, what is good? Dana Craig, 499. Thank you so much. Dana. Crime Tourist, thank you so much. 1999 super sticker. Building a tree or build a tree, grow a house. Oh, I like that. 5 people turned green. Thank you. Love, love, love. Member for 30s. See, with these new little @ symbols, I can't. Oh, here he is.
Hey,
tell anymore. Oh, you're back.
Fault?
No, I have no idea what happened.
It's probably my computer shutting us down.
Oh, you're good. You're probably just making a video
we were talking
back
about
there.
3-letter agencies, and that happens. I see FBI when I look at my Wi-Fi all the time. It says FBI van. I don't know if that's somebody just funny or what.
FBI, yes, yeah. Okay, so what I asked you right before you left was how does it get, like, if I was on the jury again, I feel like even if a 3rd grader was on the jury, wait, you said that there were 7 vehicles that it could have been, and nobody cared about any of the other vehicles?
Well, I think Ann Taylor would have had him nailed down on his times, and I don't think he would have lied. I don't think he could have. So I think she would have nailed him down with, now that we've got these fog lamps, I mean, their entire case was just screwed, because she would have nailed him down on when did you change the year model from 11 to 16 at least into 14 to 16. He would have had to said, well, with the WSU footage. Okay, well, do you realize that at the time the WSU footage included a car that wasn't Brian Kohberger's? So now you've got all these cars.
Well, he was saying that he was never told whose vehicle, like he was never, all he was provided with was the videos. And so I agree with what you're saying. How are you going to just ask the question of, okay, these vehicles that you're looking at over here, they have what? Fog lights? Now, the WSU one doesn't. Are you like, hey, if you're trying to say, because I think this is what he was going to say is, I never collectively said whatever they gave me on whatever date, it's those videos is what I used for, hey, that's that make and model. And then you gave me videos on the 19th, 17th, 21st. I think that he was going to go that route.
Well, then you could very easily nail him down then, I think, with, okay, well, forget the ones at WSU because those are out of the picture right now. Tell us, looking at these models, just on these videos near the crime, can you tell me what year models those are based on the features that you seen at the time? And I don't think he would have lied.
Yeah, I think that he was going to say, and he didn't know, nobody ever told him, hey, you're looking at a video from 11125, Ridge Road.
Yep.
It wasn't like that. That's not how they were presented. And he's really good about writing that in his report. But I just don't think the rest of the world knows that.
Yeah.
He's just being supplied. Here you go. There's no context around it. What's this vehicle?
There probably isn't too many people that really know those details because there's only a few of us that are boring enough to go through and really pick that stuff apart. And, that's not the stuff that people really want to sit there and look at, but I can't help it but to go through it 1,000 times because it's crazy.
It's nuts.
It's crazy.
So much so that if we go back to the video that you just did, what just blew me away. So hear this out for everybody, you guys. The purpose of having an expert witness on a stand is they get to actually testify to their opinion. Like, that's the glorious thing about an expert. If you're not an expert, you're going to be objected to as objection, calls for speculation. Yep, sustained. Okay. But when you're an expert, so in this case, Hill was going to come on and be the expert for the state and claim path of travel by looking at the lights and all this type of shit. Well, in 2024 and in 2025, Hill goes to an address that we all know, 451 Paradise, and legit has an interview with the homeowner of 451 Paradise, which provided camera footage back in the day, and it created part of this path of travel. Well, I shit you not. In this report, which I'm going to bring back up your video. So 1 second here, let me go grab it.
Which is crazy because I've been waiting to see the Paradise footage now for 3 years, and now that doesn't even exist.
Yeah. Here in this report, we get to, right. I think it's okay. Here it is. Here's his name. Kenneth. And I'm like, okay, now we can mark off Kenneth. We know who Kenneth is. Okay. Listen to this portion.
And I sure ain't liking it either. So when you think about this, this is the route around the King Road neighborhood.
Talk faster, Pavarotti.
Road. Here's Queen Road around the apartment. Here's the King Road residence. This is Taylor. This is Ridge. This is Paradise. This is Walenta. So we know that they say at 4:01 a vehicle comes down Taylor onto Louder, turns on to Ridge, and it's caught on camera at 4:01 on Ridge Road. But then they say somehow that vehicle got from there all the way back up Walenta into the King Road neighborhood 3 minutes later. But we've always said, and the defense team has always said, you've got video right here at Paradise that shows this vehicle coming down and going to the west, and it comes down and it makes U-turns. But
on other trips, like we have 451 that has other trips, except this one that's needed on the 401 to connect it all. Like, where is this camera? Well, I about fell out of my chair when you're going to see what this report says. I said, this would never stand. Watch this.
For some reason, when it comes to the vehicle on Ridge coming down, you don't have any camera footage to show that was the same vehicle. And the defense argued there's no connection to the trip. Where's the camera footage? There, you can't see that vehicle. It doesn't make the loop. Now we know what happened to the camera footage.
This was wrote December 20th of 2024, right before 2025, right as Hippler is taking over the case.
This was right before the this was, I think, was written right at the Franks, wasn't it?
Well, it was written,
wasn't the Franks
right here, 12/20/2024.
It wasn't the Franks January 23rd.
The Franks was January 25th.
So this was, I mean, a month before they knew this was coming in the Franks, because when you watch the Franks hearing, Ashley Jennings makes a little statement. She says, "Well, we didn't at the time, Your Honor, but it's in our reply."
Rebuttal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I was afraid you were going to say that."
Yeah.
Like,
you can't see that vehicle. It doesn't make the loop.
Here we go.
Now we know what happened to the camera footage, according to FBI Special Agent Hilly, because on December 20th, 2024, right? This is almost 2025 right here when he does the agent and the nature of the interview. Bonifin recalled.
Okay, so I wanted to get out of, like, so we're not showing anything. Now, this is what you cannot do. I've never seen this in my entire life. As an expert, we were talking about it before we started. I said, it is one thing to testify to your opinion. You cannot testify to somebody else's opinion. Like, that's not, like, wait, I'm like, what? So listen to what they wanted to testify at this rebuttal, because the defense was going to win this argument and it was going to really hit home with the jury, okay? Until they went and thought, hey, let's go interview and get the resident, Kenny, from 451 Paradise, and let me talk to him and let him say this to me, and I'm going to put it in my report.
In all fairness, Hippler probably would have certified Bonifin a temporary expert on video, technology, to admit his expert opinion.
This is wild. Watch this.
That his surveillance cameras were set up to capture motion activation when people walked in front of his residence. Due to this, his previous cameras did not activate when vehicles would travel west on Ridge Road and turn north at the intersection in front of his residence. Additionally, Bonifin also had a camper parked in front of his residence, which he said would keep vehicles driving this direction from triggering his cameras. Bonifin also advised that due to the sensitivity settings on the motion activation of his cameras, they would oftentimes not trigger when vehicles would travel south on Ridge Road, down the hill, before they would turn eastbound onto Ridge. Well, it sure did trigger the 2 times it came down and made the U-turn there, guy. But
It sure did. Dude, you guys, this is written in a expert's report for his rebuttal. And
certified FBI. This is stamped.
Nuts.
Stamped
These
FBI.
cameras would generally only activate at night when the vehicle's headlights would shine on the camper he had parked in front of his house, in front of his camera. This guy spent a lot of time analyzing his cameras back then, didn't he? Prior to ending the interview with Bonifin, he reiterated that his cameras did not capture motion on vehicles traveling west on Ridge Road when they would turn north at the intersection in front of his residence. Well, then that must be the holy gospel then if Bonifin...
Well, that must be the holy gospel. Then there's more, you guys. There's more. Then this is crazy. This is crazy. Because then
Special Agent Hilly was able to log on to the surveillance system for 1320 and 1330 Linda Lane, Moscow, Idaho. Property manager Kane Francitic had previously provided the following login information to access the surveillance system.
Look at what his username is. MPD. What?
I didn't even see that. Yeah.
You guys, this is crazy.
Back to November.
Password passed for MPD.
Due to this surveillance retention period, there is currently no access to surveillance footage from November of 2022. What have we all been looking at for the last 3 years? If y'all can't access Linda Lane now, why would you even?
Why does he want to access it now? He already has it. They already have it. So long story short, they really thought that they were going to go into this trial, and that Hill was literally going to testify to what the opinion of the resident at that house 3 years later. He got a new camera and everything like that. They were going to have this man testify to what his opinion was about why his camera would sometimes catch vehicles and why sometimes it didn't. Wait a fucking second. Wouldn't you talk to this man, I don't know, in November when you got the video footage of 2022 and already find all of this shit out? This is like going and getting the guy in the Bobo case to say, hey, you're going to come and say you heard that gunshot while you were boating 15 years later. Come on.
Well, actually, looking at the work of Special Agent Hilly and a lot of his opinions, what may have happened is when he encountered Bonifin was so impressive that he just, was a deer in the headlights and was like, dude, whatever you say is obviously right because I'm so stupid. I mean, that could have been what happened. But yeah.
I mean, this is so improper. Like, how can Hill? So all of you lawyers out there, explain to me how Hill as an expert or Hilly as is it Hilly? Is it really Hilly?
Hilly.
How could anybody testify? He's going to take the stand and literally testify and say, well, I didn't Google it, but you know what I did? I'm the rebuttal, and I'm rebutting and telling you guys that I talked to Ken, and by God, Ken knows his shit. And he said that shit wouldn't happen. And that's my opinion now.
And on that specific day, Ken remembers back then that he moved his camper back another 3 inches, which would have blocked the sensor. And I mean, he verified that and he reiterated it. And that's just what happened. And
and here's the judge. This would have been Ann Taylor. Your Honor, can we, I guess, objection? This calls for, I don't even know what. I mean, this calls for an expert's opinion on what? This is not his opinion. This is Ken's. This is not a rebuttal. This is not a rebuttal. This is nuts.
I would have liked to seen Doug Bates question Mr. Bonifin on the stand. That would have been cool.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, you expect us to believe 3 years ago you knew exactly? Oh man, that's
here. Listen to this. Listen to this video. Did you hear any echoes? That's just wild, you guys. When I saw this is a. And then how about this? Another thing they were gonna, rebut on February 12th of 2025. This report was written, and it was, hey, we're going to go through and show where the cameras catch a car without its front license plate. And it's like, awesome. But that was not part of your investigation ever. But I'm glad that now you want to just mention it. Great.
They don't mention the one with the fog lamps that they put in their probable cause that didn't have front license plate either.
right?
No cars that night had front license plates.
Now, here's the magic question. Ready? How was the state going to explain why they went to Pennsylvania to go and get Brian Koberger's parents' fucking trash when they didn't do that ever with any person, right? Because they have to explain how they got to Brian Koberger and via this what they're saying is a generic tip, which Ann Taylor was not on board with. I think that's another myth out there, is that Ann Taylor was going to argue, and she wrote in the, like, she's like, yeah, no. How can you stipulate to something? Because I need to be able to poke holes at the investigation. And if I'm stipulating to saying that, yeah, we could just have this fake generic, we're lying to the jury. Like, none of it's true. Like, how does even the judge think that that's okay?
I think I think that wouldn't be a lie. I think that's exactly what it was, because the FBI couldn't prove that they actually completed the IGG, so it was just a fake generic tip. There's no proof. Because Othram testified that they couldn't get to Koberger. They got to somebody else, 4 brothers. The FBI said they got to him, but they can't produce any of their work. So it's just a generic tip. It never even worked.
And so, I mean, you can't have, all these people qualified themselves in the pretrial hearings that they had, saying that they did not know Brian Koberger existed until December 19th. Now, do you let that stand, or do you go after the fact that they did know about him earlier, such as November 25th?
I think you got to hold them to their words, because I think Ann Taylor worked hard to get it uncovered that they didn't find him till December 19th, because they tried to say for a long time they found him on the 25th. And she worked and she got him to admit on stand it was the 19th with the when she got pain.
Well, yeah, and the probable cause, they try to make it seem like they knew about him on November 29th.
Yeah, but she got Payne on the stand and got him to admit that was a reverse investigation. They didn't hear about him till the 19th. Mm-hmm. So I think she worked that out of them, and I think you hold their feet to the fire with that.
But then how would you be able to bring it up in terms of
Let me ask you this, Lynn. I'd like to get your opinion on this, because it pertains to this. When we looked at the closed hearing transcript on the Franks, when Ann Taylor was grilling Riley Nolan,
yeah,
one thing she was really kind of hitting her on was, why did you use Brian Koberger's father's sample when there was a sample in that trash of Brian Koberger's? Why didn't you use Brian's instead of his father's? Mm-hmm. And she was kind of hammering her on that particular. Did you look at it? You can look at it. What do you think that was about? Why do you think she went in that direction?
Okay, perfect. Because Brian Koberger's DNA was in that trash. And why would you, if you're going through the trash and you're making up these, at the time it would just been like profiles, right? Mm-hmm. Well, what would have happened there is that if you have, when what she tried to claim is that, yeah, Brian's DNA was in the trash, but it wasn't a single source. It was mixed. That's what her little argument was.
Right.
And she was basically, and it's like, okay, well, just because it's mixed doesn't mean you can't separate it. You can. And it's like, well, when you did separate it, you didn't realize that like, you're just eyeballing some stuff. Oh, wow. Like that's, how is it missing? And how did you not know that you had Brian? And that's when she comes back and says, I didn't know that I didn't have Brian's DNA. That's what she tried to say. She's like, I didn't. And then she's like, I didn't even really do this. But the question is if you go and you're just taking the trash and doing truly what they said that they did, you come across Brian's DNA, and that would be, why aren't you comparing Brian's DNA to what was left on the sheath, which is what you have?
Which, according to you, would be an exact match. So why would you get a near match when you got an exact? And I don't know why she was hammering her on that. I've thought about it for a long time, but I think she had something up her sleeve with that questioning.
I think because there was an issue with it.
Just hammering something with an issue?
No, I think that it's like almost like, it didn't match. That's how she was going to go about it. Like, it wasn't the same, was it? There was something was, and then how she's trying to, like how Nolan's trying to go at it is like, no, we could never have done that because it was a mixed sample. And it's like, wait, what? You pull apart mixtures all the time.
Yeah.
You'd use that, like that's what happens in cases like all the time. Like when there's two people's blood, one's the victim and it's mixed with the perpetrator. You pulled that apart and that's how you found out who your perp was, and then you fucking arrested him. You know what I mean?
Yep. They did it. They did it in this case like 15 times. Even if it was like 10% or 8%, I think was the lowest one, or 7%, then they'd separate it and they'd do comparisons on all of them. If it was like 2 or 3, then they wouldn't.
So you're basically of the opinion, because I'm not, you're of the opinion that they did not know Bryan Kohberger's name until the 19th.
I don't think they did.
Okay. See, for me, I think that they did, because the FBI is never going to just turn over on the same day that the FBI was to find something out, that I'm going to give that to MPD on the same day. And like, so.
Well, that's 2 different things.
Okay. So you're saying,
when I'm saying they, I'm saying the local investigative team. I think the FBI knew before the 19th, but I don't think the local guys did.
Okay. See, I think Pullman and Blaker and their relationship and what the fuck they've been doing for years came out in this case. Blaker can't write a report to save his life. Blaker just writes off stuff like, oh, between around this day or this time. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous. Blaker had his hands in every single thing. He was working with the Pullman Police Department, but yet they wanted to keep that out of the know of the defense. And Taylor had to pull back the layers to find out who Chris Ingle. Oh, wow, Chris Ingle was involved. Oh, wait, you guys are doing spreadsheets on the 25th. Wait, actually, you found Brian's car. It was the 7th vehicle that you found. And so you actually identified him on the 25th.
Think about everything you're saying right now.
And that's when the year changed on the 26th. That's what I believe the year changed.
Think about everything you're saying right now. You've got the legwork of the local area that Blaker's doing, probably more than just WSU, and he's compiling a short list.
Oh, yeah.
He's compiling a short list, and then you've got a federal grand jury that's issuing subpoenas that we'll never get to see. You got Cy Ray, who testified that likely they had the call detail records for Bryan Kohberger before the AT&T warrant was actually filed. I believe he was suspecting that because they couldn't file a warrant and get the other warrant in 30 minutes if they didn't. So I believe they had a short list.
Yeah, what they were asking for.
They had a short list. They were getting the federal grand jury to unmask everybody on that short list. And then you've got certain people who's out and about during the time frame that they're looking for, which made that list a lot shorter for them, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's a part of me that believes that they hid actually behind IgG and made it seem like they used IgG to identify Bryan Kohberger, but they didn't.
Exactly.
That's not how they originally identified Bryan Kohberger as who was going to be this person. And that's why I think the undercovers and Molly in this, what was truly happening that night, it's almost like, oh my God, one of our CIs, or it's going to look a certain way and we can't have it be looking that way. And, but they didn't get to Bryan Kohberger from genetic genealogy.
I don't think they got to Bryan. I always thought and I've said it 1,000 times, they got to Bryan from CIs.
Yes, I agree.
I don't even believe they got to Bryan from CIs now. I mean, I've gone through so much. I think there's other people that they got to through the CIs, and they had somebody that was driving a white car, and they couldn't figure out who was driving the white car. And I think they unmasked some things on Kohberger, figured out he was out at the time he was driving the white car, and was thinking, okay, well, this is our guy. Let's arrest him, and we're going to have plenty of evidence once we get him arrested. And then once they arrested him and they did all the forensics and looked at everything, they went, oh, shoot. But I think they were stuck then. And that's why if you went to an evidentiary hearing with everything that we've looked at, could you ever get an indictment with everything that you have now that we know of? I mean, there might be some secret bombshell out there waiting to slap me in the face and call me stupid, but
that would have already come out to shut people up.
You would think, but that's why I leave that little caveat back there. But other than that, everything we've looked at, can you imagine going to an evidentiary hearing and saying, hey, can you get an indictment? You've got this one questionable sample. Look at this on chain of custody on this one stupid sample. And then All this other evidence says no. I don't think you could even get an indictment.
Well, I think that goes back to a huge question I have about Ann Taylor's strategy. Why in the world did you say that you'd push a preliminary hearing out 6 motherfucking months? What are you doing?
Because she did like Zach Adams' attorney. So don't tell me anything. Let me get the evidence. Let me look at the evidence. And then once I get the evidence, I'll ask you about the different evidence that we get. And she didn't wait. She waited till she got the evidence and went, shoot, there's no evidence. Well, maybe he's not guilty. Let me talk to him now. That's what she said, that's how she worked her cases. And I think it's the same thing. They just didn't give her the discovery she didn't know.
The only thing I think, the reason I don't agree with that is because of the request that she was making between January and May with her, all of the supplementals that she kept putting in and the motions to compel and stuff. I just think that you're giving them, why are you doing a preliminary? What are you doing? Like, what was they can only use what they have at that point against you, against your client. Okay. Yeah. So in order to make probable cause. So if her thing so it's not like, even if they could find all this other stuff against him in that period of time, they could have never used that, at our, to make, she'd have to tell me that in order for me to be like, what was your trial strategy with that? Again, she could say that I'm also, because you're going up against a speedy trial as well. And Brian Kober wasn't waiving that. And he didn't want to waive that. You should never waive that. If you're innocent, you should never waive that. Like, ever waive that.
Yeah, she should have. She would have followed that same path that Lori Daybell did and not waive it, got the extension, and the judge would have had no choice but to remove the death penalty. But because they signed that waiver to waive the speedy trial, she actually signed the waiver.
Yeah, well, because he had to pick one of his, and I think that would be overturned on appeal.
Yep.
When you actually go back and you read these documents,
trial, it all makes sense if he goes to trial.
Yeah, she was definitely playing the long game.
Yep.
And then, so one of my thoughts on this is I believe that there should be no such thing as a death penalty, not because of the person that you want to put to death, but we as a society cannot put this on lawyers to feel like, dude, if I go forward with this case and I lose, you're being killed and it's my fault. What person, fuck the term lawyer, who wants that on them? That should never be put on another person. And they need to stop playing, leverage with the whole death penalty. Like, come on, no lawyer should ever have to say, listen, I'm advising you to take this deal because I don't want to see you die. And I can't be.
Not only that, they're building an automated death chamber for you where the computerized guns are going to shoot you. They were building a machinator.
It's
Miss Palm said, look up machinator. I looked it up and he just jerks the guy's head off. I was like, yeah, that's about what they were building for Koberger there in Idaho. So yeah, I'd be kind of scared of that myself.
Yeah. I also think that if you're going for the death penalty, there should never be such a thing that you can have a plea deal. There should no be if you're going to put, either you're going for the death penalty, there's going to be a trial, or like you just can't. A death penalty case should never be able to end in a plea deal because the person's, I'm taking this plea deal so I'm not killed. Yep. That is absolute craziness. Like,
with plea deals in general on almost 95% of the cases now. I mean, even the judge, I mean, Hitler wanted the plea deal. He asked, have you offered them a plea? Well, we need to talk about doing that. He wanted the plea deal. He wanted out of it.
Yep. Here I have a couple more. And then I was going to open it up for people to ask questions because they never get to ask you questions because you're never live.
Oh, dang it. Sure.
So are you okay with that though?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Love to.
I only let not ridiculous questions like, hey, you sexy thing, look at them blue eyes.
Oh, y'all can see my eyes? Dang it. Where's my pavs at? When I get questions, I put my pavs on. No, fine.
How many sunglasses have you went through since you started making? Is it the same pair that you've done the whole way?
No, I thought this is my second pair. I only wear these when I do the videos. So.
See, okay. I was wondering if you were going to have your glasses on or not. I should have done a poll because I would have totally went with glasses. I would have lost my poll bet.
Well, you'd have went with that, and then I'd have been sitting here trying to see what's on the screen, and I'd have been in trouble.
I'd been like, "Wow, you can't read that." Okay, so here we go. What do we got here? Okay. Ashley Jennings, Cy Ray. Who do you got in arm wrestling? Who you got in arm wrestling?
Ashley Jennings and Cy Ray. I don't know. I don't think Ashley Jennings would really be able to put her arm down properly and grip his hand properly because it would take too much explanation. So I'm going to let Cy Ray take that one, but only because of the mental game on that, you know?
Right. So Cy Ray basically exposed them for exactly what it was, which is the larger issue, which is you never had probable cause for any of this, and you've been lying then, now you're lying more. And what he was so pissed off about it's like the Holly Bobo case back in 2017. How is a judge, dude, you have to see this. It's right in front of your face. Like, we all have the same evidence here. We all know what's going on. And yet you have to be incompetent. Like, how does a judge get away with saying that somebody is a conspiracy theorist and doesn't give them the time of day to come on and literally testify in a pretrial proceeding in a man that's up for his life? How do you even function? How does a judge do that?
I think that's one of those thousands of questions we could ask about different things in this case and go, that's just not even plausible, much less possible, yet it happened. I mean, there's no answer to it. And
then do you think that by Colbert or not by Hippler saying this is what gets people disbarred? It's like, exactly. And we're trying to present this and you're now cock blocking us.
Yep.
So then you're just as bad as the person that we're trying to expose here.
Well, now, I don't know why they didn't just hammer down a little bit harder, because it wasn't just it only goes back a 7-day thing. Mm-hmm. That was their third shot at that monkey, or third shot at that ball. That was their third shot. They said, give us the time and advance reports. They came back, said they weren't available at all. Didn't even make them. No, we know you made them. Here's how you made them. And we got them for the other cases. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, but they only go back this far. I mean, once you lie the first time, how do you get by with the argument on the second run? You already said you didn't make them at all. They weren't available at all. They didn't even make them then. And then they come back and say, well, they did make them. They only go back 7 days.
Yeah, like you kept on doing something. Yeah, you kept on saying whatever, and then you kept on changing it because it didn't matter. You could say whatever. There was no consequences here.
Yeah.
Okay. Except for, let's talk about it. Steve G had consequences if he wanted to. You need to shut up. I cannot believe that he told Steve G that he needed to shut up.
He did.
What? Like, that's crazy to me. And more towards that is, I believe that actually Steve G, if he was to be called to testify and asked, when Steve G came out and told the world that they had Brian Koberger going by that house on 10 or 12 different occasions, do you want to know where he got that information from? The freaking AT&T timing advanced. That's where he got that information from. And that's when they were telling, I think, Stevie, oh, you can't, holy shit, what are you doing? You can't say that. Because that's what's tipping everybody off on the defense side. Like, well, if he's saying that, that means you definitely had timing advanced. Because that's how you could only ever say that. Because otherwise you're just putting them on a, if you're going off of the call detail records, you're putting them off towers. You'd have to have, you get what I'm saying? Like, you'd have to be GPSed on an app of some of something that's GPSing you and that they can like literally track you. So what's your thoughts on Dylan and Bethany's phones walking and going upstairs? Oh, is he frozen again? He'll be right back. Oh, wait, let me pull up this. Okay. Oh, I need to send this link. Oh, there it is. Perfect. He's coming back. And now for our surprise, what we got? Pav, what's the first combo you're going? You can ask him that yourself. Who's turning green over there? Love it. A lot of green people. Oh, Angel. You rock. Happy New Year's, by the way. It's groovy to see my two fave. You've made all of our day and night. Thank you for doing this phenomenal work to help find. Yeah, I just think there's another person involved, possibly more than just one. Oh, wait, there you are.
Hey, was that me again?
Oh, let me blame myself. I have no idea. It's us.
It's I probably used up all my internet up here in 3 days.
Okay, so for this 30 for these questions, I have a question person that's going to ask us the questions.
Okay.
Because I have a rapid fire that we're going to close out with. But first, here we go. Surprise guest. Ask away.
Oh, man, I got this. The Pavarottis, dude, and you got to make me look bad.
I got this crazy guy. His name's Esty. He's telling me he wants to box me. And I'll tell you what, Esty, you get 2,500 YouTube subscribers. I will box you live right here on YouTube, and I'm going to box those ears right off that bald head.
Hey, I will box his ears, though. Hey, guess what I got for Christmas, Bob? Miss Pav got me one of those bobs for in my living room.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I put my hat on him, when I'm not in there boxing his ears. And at least once a day, me and Miss Pav walk in the living room and almost have a freaking heart attack because we think somebody's in there fixing to jump on us. That thing is ridiculous.
Oh, man. Dude, that is one of my favorite sound bites that I've ever heard from you. Is you saying, maybe I got to show you what Pav does on a daily basis. That was epic, dude. That was awesome. How you doing? It's great to finally talk to you, man. And Lana, thanks for having me up.
Absolutely. I said we're going to have a special guest here. Ask us some questions. That way I'm not the question asker. That way they're unbiased. And I was trying to grab if anybody in the chat had any. And I told you to come prepared with a couple. What do you got for us? Questions based off of the live or whatever you've been, following. By the way,
got those pimp shades now, and they're so dark he can't even see his questions. So you better memorize them.
I do have one for both of you too, real quick, and that is with the documents kind of being floated out there and then quickly retracted, and they only release some of them back. Is there a chance that is strategic so that they don't have to come out and say, hey, we've been lying, and they're maybe going to put that on some low-level clerk and say they effed it up?
Well, if that is the case, then they really screwed themselves, because I downloaded every one of them as soon as they hit the docket.
Yep.
So they can pull them back all day long. We've already got them. I've already emailed as many of them as I can to Lana. I'll get the rest of them to her here in a minute.
Yeah. I don't think that. I think it just, honestly, to me, it's the icing on the cake. It's the cherry on top. That is how incompetent they are. That's an example of it. And I feel really bad. And that's why I wouldn't share anything last night when I had stuff. I'm not sharing that stuff. They put out somebody's social security number. Okay. Mm-hmm. How do you mess this up? You guys, this is what they do for a living. This is a representation of them, period.
I'll tell you one thing that I noticed this morning, and I did share it with the members. I haven't gone back to see if it was in the original forensic reports, but it's in the ones that were just released in the rebuttal. And as you go down through there, Talbot gets to a certain spot where he's asking for a search warrant, and it says the weapons involved in the crime that he's looking for are sharp edge. He puts little X's next to the ones that's applicable. Sharp edge weapon, blunt force, firearm.
Wow.
He put firearm?
He check marked firearm, and this was on the 18th. So you would think they would have an idea if a firearm was involved by the 18th or not.
That's crazy. Dude, one of the things that I've always wanted to ask you is I saw a video that you did a while back. I think you said that gun rack guy with the model of the gun, it was like an SKG. And you said
that's that guy's literal name, man.
Gun rack guy?
Gun rack guy. Yeah, I use his middle name too. You know, I shouldn't. I should just call him Gun Guy.
Can you remind me of how you came up with SKG instead of just like a pistol? I've always wondered that.
Yeah, I came up with SKS.
Or SKS, yes, thank you.
Yep, because the Aryan family boys, when they released their FBI documents and they went to the house, or they didn't go to the house, he got out of there before they got to the house, but they had their recorded phone conversations, and he was telling him, get the bad stuff out of the trunk and get the SKS out of the trunk. So I've been on SKS for 2 years now trying to dig in deeper. And I believe that was a white Elantra. I believe it was the one that was found in Eugene, Oregon, because the timeline of when they had that call, where he was at, where they ended up in Arizona would put them right in Eugene, which they all lived at one point, would put them right in Eugene, right when that car was abandoned. And then those lying suckers put out press releases saying, this car is not associated with a crime. We've looked at it. Then we get the police report. And what does it say? They never even checked it. There's nothing. They never even checked the car.
Yep.
It's insane.
Which does that not lead you to believe that you guys, they already knew at that point, like, of course this is not the car because we already know what the car is without saying it.
They had Koberger's name when when they would have checked that car, they didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
go ahead, Bertie.
I was just going to say real quick to that point, I always wondered, where was the other car that Elantra hit? Like, is there an accident reported? Because that car was
I think it hit the bridge. I think it hit the bridge and just kept on driving. There was a little bridge right before that, but I don't know. It could have hit a dog for all I know.
Yeah, and a homeless person was sleeping in it.
It could have hit a homeless person that they found actually sleeping in it a couple of days later. Yep. People
have said that's like the other guys where they're like, thanks for the F Shack. Have you ever seen that movie? They're in the Prius.
Here's a question for everybody. We always see that search warrants are performed without an arrest. So, like, for example, in the Jack Decor, the Jack Showalters of the world, there were search warrants that were done to be able to go into their homes and whatnot. They weren't arrested first or anything like that. So, question: why didn't they? I have my answer, but here's your guys' question. Why didn't they ever say to themselves, well, here, let's just serve a search warrant and go to the apartment of Brian Culver's and or the office of Brian Culver's to obtain DNA? Could they really? I mean, there was no.
Why didn't they at least place a call to him and ask him if he would be willing to sit down for questioning?
Well, we're going to get to that.
I mean,
that took place?
I think it's the same question. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Any investigation, if the person's willing to sit down and take a statement, I mean, they always ask them first, are you willing to? Maybe they'll sit down and confess, or at least lock them into lies.
And that's what they usually do. So do you think that Roger Lanier and James Fry were on the witness list for the defense for that purpose, to say, like, hey, you guys wanted to talk to people with the car. Why didn't you attempt to talk to him once his name came up in some type of fashion that you could be like, even, I mean, that's what you'd want to get. Hey, let's get a confession out of this kid.
I've thought that same thing. And I've said, if you knew that Brian was driving it, clearly they did, because they're going to pull him over twice in Indiana. Why are you letting this dude drive around and go across the country just to get the DNA off of a Q-tip out of the trash? I know you guys were talking about that earlier in the live. It's never made any sense to me why the cops would do that. And it's never made any sense to me whether or not Brian had that trip planned with his father, why you would drive the most wanted car in America all over the country. So I don't know. In general, it just seems weird. Like, why not question him while he's in Pullman if they had his name?
Well, you'd have to say, why would Koberger drive that car to the crime scene if you were going to ask that question?
Too. That's the question. And he didn't. Clearly, he did not, because there is nothing in that car. He may be the guy. Awesome. He didn't take that car there. I
don't believe that they believe that he took the car there either.
Uh-huh.
I don't believe that they believe it. No.
And they have nothing else. That's why they
know that car on Ridge Road was a 2011 to 13. He knew it was. That's why they focused in on it. Because when you look at the video that we have released now, you can literally see the rear reflectors underneath the bumper. There's no way that car, the FBI would have known that was not a 2014 to 16.
I agree with that. And have you ever, I don't know how granular you guys go back.
I think they thought Koberger was so freaking smart that he had devised some other way around it and was running. I don't know what they thought, but I don't believe they thought that was his car.
Well, do you think they ever had a sit down and they were like, when they got the name Brian Koberger and they're like, oh my God, it's a criminology student. So they all had to sit down and like, dude, you guys, this guy is so smart. We cannot go up and approach him. He tried to get away with the perfect murder. Do you guys really think that took place?
I don't know, because he made some 101 criminal, just human instinct errors that on top of him being a PhD, I don't see any normal person making.
I think they said, FBI said, look, we got his, it's this guy right here. We think it's him. They ran out, got his DNA, said it's close enough. Should arrest him. Let's have a news conference. He drives a white car. He's good enough.
I agree.
I mean, I don't know how people don't see how quickly that this supposedly happened. You know, also I got to go back to this whole like, okay, Eric Gower and Molly. What do we think about the time frame that now with the video footage being out there? What time did Ethan and Xana come home, and why is there no reports and nothing is being out there about Ethan's apartment?
I think it goes back to actually, Pav, I had a chance to watch one of your videos 3 days ago. You talked about how Ann Taylor's strategy might have actually been to move that window backwards, and it would have really put them in a tough spot being the state, because if that was Ethan that showed up, and it kind of clicked, I'm like, that would make a lot of sense if Ann's defense was going to say, well, I don't know how you're saying they're home, because we can see Ethan's car pull right in here at this time. And I don't know. I personally believe that Ethan and Xana arrived at 1122 separately.
Like that.
I don't know how they got there. I know they were found in their underwear, so I'm going to assume they had been there for a while.
Okay.
But I think that Lana made the best point you could possibly make on that with Ethan's brother has a police report. He was home in bed by 10. His sister's home in bed by 10. Well, then they're either going to have to do one of two things. If that's not the case, either come forward and say we lied for whatever reason, and that was us driving that. And then that opens up a can of worms. They could never get the worms back in the can. So they would have to stay to their story, which means the only other people that could be driving it is Ethan and Xana. Let's push the timeline back. Now there's no way for them to explain otherwise.
You can't.
Even though I believe, in my personal opinion, I believe it was one of those two pulling in, because I believe they were called by Dylan before the cops were called. They came over and then they went through the frat policy with the university on, I know it's my brother in there, but we gotta do some serious damage control before this gets out.
Okay, that brings up my next question then which is if Maisie's talking and saying, hey, how her brother Ethan and Hunter and Xana were all texting to say, hey, come out. Who would ever do that if you're going to bed at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m.? Also, there's no phone. Hunter Chapin's phone, where is it? I mean, he didn't have his phone the next day. It wasn't working. There was no phone ever downloaded to be, dumped. I mean, that's just, when you compare that to then the 429 vehicle coming, in, and it definitely goes into that 1122 lot. And then the cops knew enough that, hey, we have to assign this car to somebody.
Here's the question that I would love to ask everybody, because these conversations go daily over and over and over and over. And it's not, why did Dylan and Bethany not call 911 for 8 hours? It's not all those questions. It's, why is nowhere in the police reports are the police not asking those questions? Why are there nowhere in the police reports the police not asking who drove this Ford Explorer? Did you drive it? I mean, there's no questions. So police aren't stupid. They're going to ask questions if they want an answer to them. So if they're not asking the question, they don't want the answer, which means they already know the answer and it's not a good answer, in my humble opinion.
Or, dude, maybe they did ask it, or they got an answer. They thought it was BS. That's why they're getting the ECUs from those 3 specific vehicles. When was the last time these were started? When was the last time they moved? That could also be, or maybe they wanted to verify it. I'm not sure if those maybe are documents we haven't seen yet, but I agree.
Or maybe they wanted those out of those vehicles so nobody else could verify it later.
Yep. That's a great point too.
Okay. So they were so hell-bent on Jack Decor, right? You know, and I'm over here like to myself, I'm like, why? Well, what do we think about the 17-minute phone conversation, if it's even true, because Van Leuven just is that bad. So we're waiting to get our hands on that actual audio. But if there's a 17-minute phone conversation followed by, you know, the calling and not answering, some texts, how do you explain that the cops never said, hey, we're going to go off of the deceased phones, and guys, they never move again. They never are touched again at this point. I've never seen it in a case where they thought, hey, we're not going to show and talk about the victim's last movements with cell phones. I've never seen it to like pinpoint time of like crime.
Well, if you look at in my opinion, if you look at the evidence that they could have put together against Jack Decor, I mean, you got to have motive, means, and opportunity. They could have nailed him on all 3 and probably had more evidence to bring to trial against him than they could against Kohberger. So by not going for Jack Decor, that either means that the whole world wants to protect Jack Decor for some reason that nobody in the world could ever explain, or they knew Jack Decor wasn't a real suspect.
Yeah, I've never understood that either.
Yeah, I mean, they got his DNA, they got his fingerprints, so I think they looked at him pretty hard, and they ruled him out.
Yeah, he checks all the boxes.
I think that he was ruled out like that to me. I'm like, are you guys kidding me? Like, what? He would have isolated Kaylee if it was. He's not taking out a whole damn house. Like, what the hell? What is wrong with people? And I get like, yeah, so he's a little bit depressed because they broke up. She's moving to Texas, or she wants to move, and they have a dog. And but guys, he's not going to go and slaughter a house, and then on top of it, have a bunch of crazy conversations or lack thereof, and a bunch of calling and texting and.
Well, then you got Jack Decor, who really couldn't keep his girlfriend, but somehow he's made such good friends with her roommate that they're willing to lie and let him unalive poor people and keep their mouth shut. Give me a break.
1,000%.
Yep.
Well, how long do you think it was that lasted that, hey, if you're a cop and you're listening to this story about you saw a masked man. I mean, I think Victoria Gooch was just like, what did I just listen to? But it's like, we don't know let me just look at your phone. Let me just download your phone and take a peek and look at it, right? They did that. And they have Bethany's and they have Dylan's. And then you're also looking at the health data. And you know that there is no way that this girl was sleeping when she's saying that she's sleeping, because her first ever statements was, well, everyone came home and everything was fine and we just went to bed. And then it kept evolving. Okay. Well, she also originally said that they woke up around 11 or 12 and that's when they called the police. None of that's true. So what's like, usually people lie. It doesn't mean they commit murder or anything like that. It's because they're lying about other things. But what do they think is so important that who cares about alcohol being there? Who cares even if there was drugs? I mean,
I think it goes back to the question though, is not why did they lie? Knowing it's a lie, why did the law enforcement not dig in deeper on it? And there's no other question in my mind other than they didn't dig in deeper on it because they knew. They had to have known, and it would open up a can of worms if they knew, or else they would have went after them.
Okay, well, that's where I want to go with your secondary case, though. If we don't have any of the FBI talking to anybody, if the FBI was like, here, listen, and then starts laying things out, like, we don't care about this, we don't care about this, we don't care about this, you don't understand, give us everything that you know, and then that's what would have led to like a secondary case, and now you're talking about cooperating witnesses and stuff like that, because
well, in the report that I read this morning, the FBI, I can't remember which agent it was, but on the 17th they went back in with Idaho State Police. There was an FBI agent going back in to get information to start victimology on the 17th of November. And we didn't see any victimology reports till after December.
Yeah, Joe
FBI, he was in there doing it on the 17th of November, already starting victimology.
Yeah, and so all of that stuff is not even out. Like, that's what I'm trying to say is the FBI was doing this whole entire case. I have no idea what Moscow was doing. And I just know that Idaho State Police was like the go first to say, hey, go here and do this. Hey, go here and do this. And they didn't even know what they were supposed to be asking people because
except for Talbot. Talbot had a separate investigation, D2 non-homicide. And he's the one that's got separate reports for Berenberg, Chestnut, and Showalter. I mean, there's a whole separate case, separate number and everything. It's wild out, and that's why I don't understand how they can even have a totally separate case investigating the same case with two different agencies with two different numbers, actually sending in to the Idaho State Police lab under two different case numbers.
Yeah, it's two numbers that are completely different. That's always been weird.
And that never came up and never talked about that?
I didn't even figure it out until I was putting all the lab items together, and I had 2 1s, 2 2s, and I was like, why do I have 2 2? Why is there another set of lab items? And then I finally got to looking at the lab reports and the top, and it wasn't Blaker and what was the other name on there besides Blaker on there? Oh, Blaker MPD. It was Talbot ISPD2. If you go to the lab reports, do you have lab reports? I could tell you.
Yeah, I have the lab reports. With the new, like, are you talking about the 1600 or 20?
Just the ones that they sent out before?
Okay.
I wish I could pull them up for you, but I'm stupid on this stuff.
No, you're good.
If you go to lab report, well, it's lab report number 1, but it's not lab report number 1 under 8458 or whatever that number is. It's lab report number 1 under 8770.
You showed that, right?
Yeah, it's at the end of the lab report. I showed it in the video the other day.
Yep.
But they're completely different lab reports with completely different case numbers and case agents. And it's a D2 investigation, Talbot lead detective. If that's what all of the information for Showalter, Berenberg, and Chestnut is under that separate case. That's where they got their buccal swabs, their print exemplars, everything, and where they did the comparisons.
I wonder if it's just
doesn't make any sense. I mean, I don't know how they even do that. I was hoping that you would know.
Well, I was just looking it up when you brought that up, Pav, and it says that maybe MPD might have labeled the box.
No, it's on every report.
Every single report.
Every report. MPD is not even listed on there. It's a different agency, different lead detective. Damn it, I can pull it up here. I can't
because the analogy that I was getting was like it's an order number versus
of the and I'll pull it up.
I'll give you the page number. Let's see.
So what you're saying, Pav, while you're pulling that up, is it's not like it's an order number versus a tracking number. It's
actual. I mean, they have their own separate forensic receipts and their own separate reports with a separate case.
That's crazy, man.
Let's see, documents.
We got to complete it right here for the last New Year's right there.
Hey, Dago, what's up, man?
What do you say, Mr. Dago?
What has happened, Mr. Pavarotti? How are you, brother?
Man, good to see you, brother.
Absolutely great to see you, and I had to put the glasses on since you didn't get to do
Everybody did my glasses except for me, huh?
Oh, out of respect for you, bro.
Yeah,
well, I sure appreciate y'all.
Both you two.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I love the truth vibes. Look at this. Truth all the way around, vibing out.
Absolutely.
Tasers and vibrators. Here we are.
Okay. Now, what'd you call it? A Key West boomerang?
Yeah, you can have one of those too.
I don't know about that, but
hi, Diego. How are you?
What's happening, sis? How are you?
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yes, ma'am. Same to you. Great show so far. This was awesome, you guys. I love it. Love it.
Thank you. Did you say you had a number for that? I can pull it up if you
Yeah,
have.
I'm looking for it right now.
Okay. I didn't know if you said something. I was like,
they're buried in this thing. I separated them all and put them into date boxes, but I didn't put the page number in the separated date boxes.
When are we going to see the print outside of Dylan's room? When are we going to see that? When are they going to get that?
Well, they didn't. They tested. Well, here, what was that? Talbot right there. Yeah, even in the emails, they reference that separate case, MPD and ISPD2, and it lists both case numbers. Where is this? They said in the forensic report, they said they did not test anything about the print or do any kind of forensics on it.
Okay. Because I got confirmation they're going to give us the 2 days worth of the Cellbrite. It's just going to be like redacted how Hitler was saying, which is amazing because I just want the phone data. I just want the steps. I want the health data. That's all we need. And then we can start putting some of the stuff to rest with it, which is, I think, deserving of anybody that's been like accused or like, but the phones, I mean, how about this? You bring in the Cellbrite people only to say, hey, in March of 2023, to focus just solely on Brian Kohberger stuff, but you never thought to bring them in when you start just taking all these people beginning of a manhunt of 6 weeks. You're not bringing them in to start going through the data of these people's phones. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
If you're the FBI and the relationships that you have, and they're just Maori's acting like, oh, when I get around to it, I'll extract this. Dude, you are so full of shit. And what you say you did with that camera on November 13th, I feel like you didn't have it, and then you realize, oh, these people wrote reports saying that I did, and I had the passcodes. I got to now write a report on November 19th and explain all that stuff. It's just mind-blowing. It's lies.
It seems purposeful, dude. It seems almost purposeful that they've avoided it for so long. And I think that's where I hope that I'm in, friendly company when I say this is if there's a cover-up, well, what do they do in a cover-up? They lie. And I think that's really hard to continue to remind yourself when you're looking at these things is, well, if you think it's a cover-up, you have to at least keep that in the back of your head every single time that you look at something.
Yeah, but it seems like for a cover-up, man, they lie terribly.
They suck at it.
They take it.
Look at is like cut and dry. Well, this is just this is wrong. I mean, this tells me something totally different than what you're saying.
Right.
They're definitely not good at it.
Terrible cover-up.
Yeah, they could just suck at it. That's also very true.
A lot of it is that, you guys. I'm telling you, they're not good at their job. They're just, and then they don't talk to each other, but they claim that they debrief morning, noon, and night. Well,
okay, Lana, it's a report number. Let's see. Here's a report number 4, and it's go to 1998.
Got it. All right, we're doing it right now.
And that's where they get Showalter and Chestnut's exemplars.
What are you pulling up, Lana?
The large doc drop of when Idaho State Police dropped the
forensic report.
2000.
Yeah, all the lab stuff.
Oh yeah, forensic drop.
So I was trying to pull up, and hold on, I'm almost there. Okay, document release. I think we did on.
Wait a minute now, Doggo, Birdie. I don't know how it works where y'all are at, but down south, man, I think we're supposed to take those trees down after a certain period of time. I don't remember the date.
Oh, it's after the New Year.
January 2nd, it comes down, bro.
Is it January? Okay.
Yep. January 2nd every year. Yeah.
I know there's a different expiration date for each state. I just didn't know which one y'all applied to y'all.
Yeah. Doggo, you're in the Midwest, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I feel like January 2nd is pretty normal in the Midwest.
My wife keeps both of them up till January 2nd, then it's gone.
1900. What was the last two numbers?
19.
Sorry, Lana.
1998.
Someone says Pov's on post Christmas patrol.
Okay, got it.
Christmas Popo.
That's only because down here we don't decorate the Christmas tree. We just go out in the yard and decorate a bush.
There you go.
Really?
We do that. We do that
Oh,
too.
yeah, man.
Oh, I've never even heard of that.
Decorate a bush, Christmas bush.
All right, this should be it. Okay.
See the difference in the boxes?
Yeah, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. Let's go.
Did you get to look at any of the docs?
Right here, yeah, the 4870 report 4, and then it's case names. So, has this now been released with this unredacted?
Yes, it has. Yeah, and it tells you it's Showalter, with which they left Showalter and Chestnut's name in small print in this report. So that's how I already knew who it was. But yeah, it's in the new release files, and it is Cotter Chestnut and John Showalter, and it's for their fingerprints, but it's a totally different case. Even in the boxes, it says non-homicide.
Wow.
Are you talking about the boxes that are
Up top?
1998.
98. Where
is that part that's like being redacted, or where does it say non-homicide?
Oh, that one doesn't say. Well, the other reports will tell you non-homicide. This one doesn't say it, I guess. But this is this is report number 4. If you go to the other case, there's a totally different report number 4. So this is a totally separate case. It's weird.
It is. It actually says it right here. It says it's 2022 4843.
Yeah,
so
why do they do that?
Items 4 and 5 were opened and digitally preserved for comparison purposes. So no latent print analysis or comparison was conducted. The digital copies of item 4 and 5 have been forwarded for comparison. Results will be issued in a separate report under the case number. And so this is my guess. And this is, to be honest, whatever date that this happened, I know that when I was reading these emails that were supposedly going on, certain people were not there, and it was getting messed up with when they're creating the case file. And so if that has anything to do with,
well, keep in mind though, it goes all the way back to, I believe it's November 13th with the first report. Let me see. I'll find it for you.
So this dated evidence was 12/8 and 12/12 that they accepted this evidence. Let's see. So yeah, they're putting all of this stuff out now, like unredacted.
That was unbelievable.
That one goes back to the 19th of November.
Pav, do you got any ideas why that would be? Like, just throwing something out there.
Man.
Yeah,
I don't. It looks to me like they had a completely separate investigation.
So this is that's what I was getting ready to say. So this is a completely separate case number that goes back to November 19th, you're saying?
Yes.
How is that possible?
CISPD 2, and it's 4870, and then it says a reference case 4843. But it's a different investigating officer, Talbot, different analyst, different agency.
That's wild.
And I was thinking, well, maybe because these people were in Boise, but no, they investigated a lot more than these folks in Boise. And this one is for Berenberg and Showalter. If you go to page 1968, they forgot to redact their names out, and it's reference oral swabs for Showalter and Berenberg.
No shit.
And that wouldn't be, I just saw somebody in the comments genuinely confused. That wouldn't be just because of a burglary versus a homicide, would it? No. I don't think it would be.
That wouldn't make sense.
Maybe,
though.
I mean, if it was, it'd be some slick stuff by the law to make it that way.
It's a good question, though.
Now, they wouldn't either one, Lana or Pop, either one of you guys, they wouldn't separate this from the investigation itself to start like this is looking to be part of the investigation as a separate case, would they? I mean, I know that sounds crazy what I'm trying to say, but they wouldn't do it to make a difference with the case, would they?
No,
I mean,
I don't know, but I know that they got Berenberg.
I think it's something to do with.
And then they kept on after Chestnut and Showalter for another month.
That's what I'm wondering, Lana. Like, this is something completely separate than the other case, right? In your mind?
No, I personally think that somebody just opened up a case. someone opened up a case because they're idiots and was like doing the work
That makes sense.
to take this to like, okay, here we need these prints because I collected those in Boise and came back and started a lab workup and did that and wasn't supposed to do it like that. That's what it looks like to me. But I think it's definitely worth asking the question, and it'd be simple to ask Matthew Gammett this to explain why there would be two cases. I think that you can get that answered in a FOIA.
Right.
I also want to ask the question of who's Donald McDonald? Why would he be? Who the fuck is he?
Ronald's brother.
You know, like Kenneth Anderson.
I got better questions. Look at this. These just popped out. They finally gave us the other names. Who the heck is Jonathan Exene?
Courage.
Wait, what's Mackenzie's name?
Mackenzie Griggs, Griggs.
Oh, did they drop him again, Pop?
Yeah, in that new release, these are unredacted in there, and that's probably why they pulled them back out. I imagine. I don't think they ever meant to unredact these.
Probably not.
What's the date on the report or like where it's from?
If you go to I don't have the report here because I took them all off the report and I put them in the lab item number sheet because I've been waiting on them. You see that sheet that I emailed you this morning?
Yep, got that. If
you go to lab item 58 through 65, from Reed Utmore down to George Simitgis, the only one I recognize in there is Tyler Yelk.
Yeah. So they put him in there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Reed Utmore, Jason Exene, Mackenzie Griggs, Syringa Riley, Chase Dixon, Caleb Jacobson, Brennan Crawford, Tyler Yelk, George Simitgis, which completed every single sample that they had, which tells me that what's that guy's initials?
NM.
NM, his buccal swab never made it from MPD to the ISP lab. No receipt, nothing. Never, nothing.
Oh, they
listed every item they had in evidence in this case, and now I've got every name that they had on buccal swabs that they collected that they actually turned into the lab with a receipt. So it never left MPD. And why wouldn't you send his?
Okay, so I'm going to pull something up then.
I'll be right back, guys. 2 seconds.
Yes, sir.
You getting hot there, aren't you, Birdie? I knew it.
Here's the item numbers for that was entered into evidence, when they came in and versus. Okay, so I'm going to share a different screen. Take a look at this. So when I was going through because I tried to get this to be unredacted for us, and they said that what they would do is, I said, no. Okay. So if we go, this is when they're, entering stuff in. Cigarette butts right there. That's your boy Cruz. Okay.
Yeah.
And so when we start, so right here, buccal swab with this P. Who we thinking that is?
P. Oh shit.
Last name. Okay. Then you go to right here, buccal swab, last name A. So I'm going with Emily Allant.
Yeah.
Okay. And then buccal swab, again, last name A. And I was looking at, these dates of when, because then some of you kind of can't compare the date of when you can usually do their interview to see when some of these guys aren't entering in. They're waiting days, weeks, months to enter stuff into evidence. I'm like, so
but Lana, when you look at this report, when it says item number, that's different than the lab item number.
Yeah. The lab stuff is totally different. But what then I try to compare though is the dates of when it could have potentially even been walked to a lab because you don't even have it yet.
Yep. When you go to the lab numbers though, the lab number, like for instance, the cigarette butts over here is lab item number what did I say? Lab item for the cigarette butts 1 and 2, or lab items 33 and 34. So There are probably even things on this list that never actually made it to the ISPS lab and was never receipted in even for a pretest. They only pretested 169 items.
Yes. Okay, so for example here, this buckle U, do you think that's up more? The 285 like on this?
More, yeah, it could be.
Because I was just trying.
I don't think I don't even think Hunter Johnson. I don't think any of their actual buckles ever made it to the ISP lab because they're not receipted, and there is no more redacted people.
I thought they were early on, or was those just prints? When they have
they got a whole bunch of people's prints to do the exclusions with for the L5 and L6, but as far as buckle swabs, every one that they had redacted now they've released. And
correct.
There's no Emily Lant, there's no Hunter Johnson. There's people now that I don't even recognize, but there isn't a Kopaka and there isn't a NM for sure.
Damn. Well,
unless there's some report that they're holding back that they hadn't released yet.
Okay, I wanted to use this phone number then too. I think I just had it. Dang it. Hold on.
Pav, what do you think about while Lana's looking that up? What do you think about the interview room with Steve and Christy with McDonough?
Did they just do a new one?
No, it was back in November. I think it was early November where Steve G's kind of in a full-on crash out saying he's like, we've heard he's got Alzheimer's. Talking about Bill Thompson. I'm just like, Jesus.
Well, I thought you were talking about the interview room at Alzheimer's. I was going to agree with you, man. No. That's another example. I can't even comment because it's another example of people that'll sit there and go, these investigators were stupid. This whole case is terrible. Kohberger's the right guy. I mean, how do you make the same argument in the same sentence?
That's exactly my point. How do you say two things at one time? It makes no sense.
That's what you call wiping your butt with a hula hoop.
That's the classic saying.
That goes with the Key West boomerang. I love it.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you guys. I was right in front of my face. Hold on. Oh, shit balls. Okay, the glove outside. Do all the footage that we have, okay? All the footage that we have. Is it there or is it not there when the cops arrive? Glove by the garbage can. Also, why are they writing in a report that the glove was in the middle of the parking lot? What's up with the glove? Where was it at? Like, how can we not even get that? How are you not like wearing body cam to like show what?
Exactly.
I mean, is it just?
I thought I seen body cam and seen that glove. Did we not?
Yeah, I think I can see it, but I'm just curious of what you guys think about the glove and that, Payne's over here saying, I looked through this, people's body cams and the pictures and that glove wasn't there. It's like, okay. So someone just comes by and drops a bloody glove there, right?
Well, I think if Ann Taylor could have found a picture of that glove in one of the body cams where you could identify it close enough, I think she could have called McDonough in on the stand and really created some havoc with the whole glove issue.
Right? Were you kind of shocked not to see his name on the witness list? I was shocked.
There's a bunch of people's names that aren't on that witness list, though, for the defense.
So do you think
Showalter's not even on it?
Well, because you don't have to. If the state already puts people on their witness list,
was he on the state's list?
Yeah.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah. So like I was comparing, and so I was like, who are the big tickets that I think should be on it that aren't? And I'm almost like, I cannot believe that you're not calling Steve Gonsalves.
Yeah, you would have to call Steve Gonsalves.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm calling Steve. Hell yes, I'm calling Steve. I mean, Steve makes some statements that are just like throughout the course of this investigation, where'd you get this information from? And then he clear as day says it that the FBI told him, hey, we're not going to let this man go on a technicality, which is our rights. Our rights is the technicality here. We're not going to let him go. He's not going to, don't worry, we're the FBI. And it's like, you don't want the jury to hear that. And then they could say, well, that's what, is it hearsay? Well, no, not if Steve Gonsalves says who said it, then it's a third party opponent. No, I mean, especially if it's an arm of the government.
I mean,
so then that's where I'm curious on if you can even get stuff in.
Well, she filed for that last discovery. One of the last discovery requests was email conversations about Molly with Gonsalves and Thompson. So, yeah.
I mean, because I believe that they were the Gonsalves were getting lied to left and right, and then some stuff was fact, but then they were getting sprinkled in with the lies. And at the end of the day, it was just, we can't have a family out there basically saying that they don't believe in us. So that's how it was at first, and they didn't. And then it was like, okay, here, trust us. Like, we got the guy. And then Steve was like, okay, I'm going to swallow my words, because what if you aren't going to believe in them? Like, that's the only hope that you have, that your daughter's killer's caught. So they're in a hard position. And I just hope that they do. I hope that these families come together and that they sue this shit, because something was being covered up. And I think that if you have a civil case, a lot will become uncovered. Sue the shit out of these organizations.
Well, one of the things about Steve G, and I've said this for a while, is that first interview with him and Chrissy outside of Moscow PD. I'm not sure if either of you two have seen this, but I've said it is so odd to me that Steve and Chrissy allude to 30 days before Brian Koberger is arrested, that they need some family genealogy company to come and start taking swabs from everybody. And it doesn't even have to be them. It could be a relative. And I thought to myself, I'm like, what are the chances?
Because they were told, but that's what the MPD told them, that they were doing that and mentioned it. Plus other people were calling these families that have been through tragedies before and just saying, do not let this case get out in front of the media, be outspoken, because otherwise the narrative is going to get all copy cop. You know what I mean? So they 1000% said what they said, because that was rumored to be something that they could be looking into. And hey, if we don't get a hit here, there's other options. So he's saying things not out of the, it was out of the blue. I'm telling you, they were repeating things that were said in, conversations with law enforcement in some capacity, whether it was the feds, whether it was MPD, whether it was ISP. And I give, none of us know how we would be if our kid was murdered. And all I know is that I'd be as vocal, and I don't care if you're a cop, not a cop, if you're late. I don't trust anybody. Show me the receipts. And you show me that there's blood in the house, it doesn't match the guy that you say killed my kid, and there's multiple people's blood, I'm going to be like, what? Whoa. How are you explaining this? Oh, don't worry about it. Fuck that. No way.
Well said. And I think
that's my kid. That's my kid.
I think that's
my
one thing.
Blood is mixed with somebody else's blood, and it's not that person. And then on a sheath, there's blood mixed with my kid. That's not that person.
Wild.
And you want me to just not ask any questions? Who do you think I am?
Right. But that's why there's some big old thing that a lot of these people know that we don't know, that we're not privy to. There's something, because I remember when Steve G used to comment consistently on my videos, and I know what he said in those comments. I'm not going to bring them up now because he got mad at me halfway through it, but I know what he was writing in my comments. So I know he knows certain things that.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Did you screenshot him?
Oh, so he wasn't happy with your videos?
Well, he wasn't when I kind of started bringing him up. Yeah, I kind of at one point said, "Wait a minute, I was looking Steve's past," and he kind of got mad at that.
The pop switch.
But before that, it was a little bit different.
That's crazy.
I probably pulled the pop switch on that one.
Yeah.
I take full responsibility.
So it was because, did he appreciate some of the work that you did, and then he was like, "Hey, get out of my background," though? Was it like that?
No. He literally said, he said, you really gonna go down this path and ruin all the good work that you've done up to this point? I mean, he would leave me comments like that.
Okay.
And but anyway,
dude, I wonder if he would talk to you, Pav.
I think that they know whose hearts are in the right places and whose aren't. You know what I mean? When you're trying to get answers, that's just all that's. Oh, did we miss? We're. Hey, it says your device isn't connecting back there, Paisan. I don't know why I can't click you when you're in the back. Okay, there you go. No, not you.
I'm working.
I wonder where Dado went.
Yeah, I got him there. Yeah. No, I think that all families, you can tell when someone's heart's in the right place versus when someone is acting like an idiot. You know what I mean? And asking questions, you can't fault people for asking questions. That's why I was just a big advocate of like, dude, trust me, you want a trial. Because if there's not a trial, this case is not going away for a very long time. And even if there is a trial, this case is not going away. But this case is not going away for even longer because there was no trial. And I just don't think, I think the families deserve better than that. I think the people that were involved, the students, anybody that had, they deserve better than that. And for Bill Thompson to make the decision that he made, he should just be so lucky that Ann Taylor advised her client to take a deal, because that's what it came down to.
Well, and I wonder too, and I'll ask the chat and Pav and Lana if Dago's up here, but just yes or no, could this have been avoided? In my opinion, yes, this could have all been avoided. Everything that's got us talking here today, I think it could have been avoided. Do you guys?
Transparency usually ends a lot. I mean, people are always gonna. I mean, some of the stuff that you guys talk about over there, Birdie, let's be honest, is out. You know, it's out there. Right.
Oh, like I mean, there's some stuff like the ritual, the numbers, the Odinism. Yeah, there is.
Like, and that's fine. But the point of the matter is that you're not going to go make up documents. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
How could I?
Exactly.
I couldn't. I'm looking at things that are not in the documents, trying to make sense of it. And I've always said this. I'm like, if people, not that people can
there he
hate
is.
me. It's okay if people don't like me or like the Hive, but a big part of me feels like you just don't understand what it is, and it's thinking out loud in real time. It's not this perfectly curated thing. It's just we're all hanging out and we're talking, and that I enjoy doing that, and it's how I've always been. So, hate me or love me for it, but one of the things that I will say is the biggest benefit of it.
You're respectful about it.
Yes, I've never once.
Like, that's why I laugh at people. I'm like, Birdie is the dude. He's respectful. He's not going and attacking anybody.
No.
Like, it's just when I see stuff like that,
except for Jeff H. Jeff H is my only crash out that I've ever
had.
God
damn it, Jeff. God damn it.
Even Tommy Jude couldn't hold back on Jeff H.
Yeah, that was my equivalent of the I'm gonna box those ears off that bald head. That was my equivalent of that.
I love it.
You say that though, man, when you bring up like Odinism, I mean, you look at that other case, that was a big deal with Odinism, but in this case, they kept citing State versus Meister. When you dive into that Meister case, Meister in one of his appeals trying to get a new trial, they denied it because they brought another guy in from the prison and they testified against his Odinistic religion. They brought that and put it on the trial. Or put it in the hearing, and that was one of the reasons they used to deny him a new trial, was because of his Odinistic beliefs. Mm-hmm. So that stuff
makes a real thing.
That makes it into the trial, makes it into the courtroom.
One of my favorite things to say about that type of stuff is just because maybe the general public doesn't know that it exists, it doesn't mean that I'm just making this up, right? Like you can look this stuff up. It's not like looking up how to bake a cake, but you can find information on it.
Yeah.
And you always forewarn everybody. You grab your tinfoil.
That's what I love about it.
That, and I respect that you do that.
1,000%.
Well, I appreciate you guys saying that.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, no, that's why when people would have ever say something like, I'm like, what? I was like, if you don't know who Birdie is, like if you're even going to come and say that to me, then you've never watched to even know who that man is, because I'm telling you, there is no ill will bone in his body.
Appreciate that.
I think I have my head on straight when I can.
Oh, wait a minute, Bernie. Wait a minute. You got to show Pav and Lana your Christmas gift, bro. Come on now.
It's not the MSNBC shirt. Oh, MSNBC.
No. You got to see this, you two. This is fucking classic. I'm sorry. I love it.
What is it?
I got a new stress ball, and it's a solid D cup right here. It was a white elephant gift.
I knew Lana was going to
random thing ever.
We were on.
My mods were like,
we were on DA's last night, and he popped up there, and I was not expecting to see that pop up. I was like, "What the hell is that?"
No, this is one of my gifts. Look at this.
A pickle?
This is a emotional support pickle. It says, "I will always be around to let you know that you are a big deal."
See, that's funny.
Nice.
This is some funny shit. I got this back. I forget. Someone said this for my birthday. One of my mods. I think it was my birthday or holiday. And I was just like, because I used to eat pickles on a live, and a judge commented in one of my hearings. Well, I tried to watch one of her videos, but I mean, she was just sitting there flipping her hair and eating pickles. What was so bad about it? And I'm like, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Eat pickles. I was like, yeah. So it was a long-running joke.
My mods were telling me, they're like, we got to get you off the teat, because the other night I was like doing this and I didn't even notice it. I'm just like using it as like a headrest, and they're like, all right, we got to get a real stress ball for you. You can't be using that, Birdie.
Well, I asked him last time, like, dude, do you sleep with it? I said, because if you do, I have, I'm thinking I got a good number for a good therapist here. So,
well, Pop, what do you think here? We'll round this out. Do you think this at any way chance could be a potential Holly Bobo case that we see making any noise down the road? Or is this
I mean, I think we could all put together a list of rock solid PCR motions they could file on this thing right now, but it all depends on the old boy sitting in the jail cell. Mm-hmm. So,
and so do you believe that when everyone's out there saying, well, he can't appeal, and I remember you're like,
that's a lie. Yeah,
I was like, I think actually you're mistaken.
People haven't dove into the law enough to learn that the law is about as set in stone as what were you holding just a second ago there, Birdie? That's how set in stone the law is. Yeah, you can file anything, make any argument, and
a lot of that
can roll whatever how he wants to rule, apparently.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, Lana, I think is guilters wanting that to be the truth and wanting to believe that no matter what he does, he's there forever now, and you're just wrong. I'm sorry.
No, it's stupid.
I just can't believe that people think that this is about our government, man. My government, your government. You know what I mean? That's what it's always been about for me. In any case, I'm just like, it's corruption. Like, this is the guy may be guilty as sin, but holy shit, if we don't have any rights anymore. I mean, whatever they want, they will get it. I'm telling you right now, that's what that case proved to me, is that we can just, these people in law enforcement can say whatever they want. There was no probable cause. They made shit up, you guys.
100%.
And they did it in the Richard Allen case. And I'm just like, and then they did it in the Karen Reed case. And it's like, holy shit. And it's just, and here we have the mainstream media that wants to talk about none of that.
Nothing. Right.
Yeah. Koberger's love handles.
That's what kills me is you listen to everybody talking right now about Richard Allen, and they're talking about fruit of the poisonous tree, going back to the original search warrant of his house, and how this is going to change this, and they're all behind it. And these people can't see that the original, here's how it went for Koberger. You had the car, WSU basically was their main reason to say it was him before the AT&T warrant. All right, think about what they had before the AT&T warrant. They had the car, they had bushy eyebrows, and that's it, because they didn't know where he was. They didn't have his AT&T. Mm-hmm. So if you go back and say, look, before you got the AT&T warrant, you got a car that's got fog glass, not his. You know what it is. Well, you take that warrant out, then you can't get the AT&T warrant. Take that warrant out, you can't get the arrest warrant. You take that away, you never get a preliminary hearing. Right. So why aren't the same people that's making those arguments for Richard Allen making the same arguments here? Because it's the same argument, but it's even more prevalent because we see fog lamps on the car.
Yeah.
We know they lied. That was written in that thing. I read it 1,000 times over 3 years. And then when I seen the fog lamps, I almost just shot through the roof of the fog lamps.
Right.
Our head fog lamps.
In 30 seconds.
Turning off a phone that didn't turn off yet. Like, are you kidding me?
No.
You're saying that even when you got his phone and his data, that he was right there with that car because the CSLI matches the videos. What you kept telling me in this thing Well, if that's not his car, guess what? Your CSLI is wrong too.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And then,
wrong.
how about this? Who is that car? I'm just curious. Who is in that car?
Right, who's driving that car? Thank you. That's my question.
And that's where I said back in the original.
There's somebody out there that's like, that's my motherfucking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I said when they would put out the original like articles or even their talking points. It was not this person's a suspect. It was this person might have critical information, which I do think matters when it comes to language like that, because if it was a suspect, they would have been doing traffic stops on any and everybody that drove a white Hyundai Elantra. In my opinion, I think they would have.
And I think that honestly, they were right when they said it in the beginning. I think that car just has information. I'm telling you, I believe that actually, like that car speeding away. I almost think, God, for them to still be in wanting to put a pen trap and trace on Molly, it's not because she left at 401, you guys. There's no way. It's because I think her freaking phone is still in the area when that car is going away at 401. And then they don't think that that's Molly because her phone is still in the geofence well after 420. And then it leaves. What if it's the car? What if her phone's leaving the geofence at 423? Well, it looks like that she's the 420 car.
The 420 car, yeah.
You know, and it's like, well, then when she comes to try to tell us that, oh, she's the 401 car, it's like, well, then how is your phone still there? And that's where I get into the whole Eldora Gatchel part of the case, which is, oh my God, Eldora Gatchel didn't leave in the pilot when it left. Okay, that's how she knew of things. And that's where I'm seeing this case. I'm like, dude, for them to be all about Molly at the point of once you would have found out that she's the door, it should have been done deal. Here's 401. She's done. Oh, yep. She's out of the geofence.
Yeah.
Wasn't she? There's no way.
Here.
There's just no way.
Let me ask you something, Bob, that I've been wanting to ask you for a long time.
Sure.
Do you think, and it doesn't matter how you answer, it doesn't matter either way. Nothing but respect for you, you know that. Do you think this was supposed to go to trial? Do you think it was gonna go to trial ever?
I think it was supposed to go to trial.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah. I think it was. I think they did too much legwork to not go to everything I see in this thing now. I don't know how it couldn't go to trial because they didn't have any evidence.
They could rebut everything. They had an answer for everything.
I mean, I just don't understand how he thought, how he was talking. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I didn't mean to.
No, you're good, man. But
how he's the whole time, we're ready to go. We're going to trial, playing with his damn beard. We're doing this. We're doing this. They don't have a fucking, excuse my language, but there's nothing. There's nothing.
you take the old Benjamin Franklin clothes and you draw a line down the middle and you list everything you got on this side and everything you got on this side, and whichever side's bigger wins. I mean, they had a DNA on the knife sheath. The card ain't even his. Then over here, they got freaking this much shit that doesn't match him. Nothing. Right. There's nothing.
Right. Nothing.
And then with the blood on the sheath that's mixed with the victim's blood, right, and it's not his.
Right.
If you're going to seriously sit there and say that, oh yeah, that's just some other random person's, touch DNA or DNA that got on it. But yeah, Brian Cover bought this and supposedly wiped it all down, but just forgot to wipe. I mean, come on. What are we talking about? And then it was laying in that bed and it had to be from someone's DNA that's in that bed. Are you kidding? Then it should be one of their friends. It should be matching something like that. It should not be an unknown. It should be Jack or Jake Schreigers. It should be a friend that would have, I don't know, possibly doing laundry with the girl. I mean, if we're really going to go down that route, then you have to go down that route with the touch DNA of his and how that could have potentially got on there the same thing. You have to give it both. You have to weigh it both ways like that.
So I'm not, obviously I have the utmost respect for all three of you, but I actually am going to take the opposite side of what Pav just said. I actually don't think it was going to go to trial. And the reason why is if you look at Bill Thompson's history, how many trials has this guy gone to? And then you look at what you were just kind of saying with, I don't think any of the evidence survives a trial. Yeah, he went to 2 in 33 years.
Look at the two that he went to trial on. One was Meister. The other one was Nisbet. Actually, he didn't even go to trial on Nisbet. He took a deal.
That was a deal. That was a deal, right?
So that's my point is, I think to your point about the whole Ben Franklin thing or the example you gave of which side's bigger, they know that, dude. And then what happens? It
wasn't his choice, though, Bertie. It's not his choice to plea. It was Koberger's.
Well, I agree with that, but at a certain point, then I'm wondering.
He offered it.
Yeah.
Why are you ever offering a plea deal?
Yeah, but you got
He used
Steve
to say
Collab.
that the two dummies met, the one that offered it and the one that took it.
You got Steve saying that Bill got down on his hands and knees and begged him to take the damn plea deal.
You think he did?
Let's ask that question then.
Let's just call him up right now.
Why would he take it?
Well, there's I've done 1,000 videos giving reasons why, man.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying
he's got the machinator over here, and then everybody lying on him over here. Shit, he put his trash in his neighbor's can. We can go through that all day long.
Clean his car with bleach too. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. If I got the machinator ripping my head off and everybody lying on me, I don't think I have a very good chance, even though I don't realize they don't have evidence.
Right.
Well,
unless they're holding something back that we hadn't seen. There's nothing. I mean, I haven't seen anything. All this mountain evidence I've been told for 3. Don't worry, when this comes out, you see this mountain of evidence they have.
Yep.
I hadn't seen an ant, much less an ant.
Where is it?
I haven't seen anything either, and that's what I'm saying. I do wonder if their effort was not put into winning the trial; it was into winning the media, winning the narrative,
they won that one.
And forcing Brian into that. And to your point, Bob, they're going to intimidate the shit out of this guy.
I think they knew, Bertie, from the very beginning that they had no case, just like Pav had said. At the end, proves it when he's standing in the sentencing hearing and he reads the damn PCA that is nothing. That's all he had. And then, so that told me right there, the entire point to this guy, in my opinion, guys, just my opinion, of course, was we're going to win over the media and the whole world and get a plea deal and we're done. End of story. That was Bill's plan.
That's why there was a leak. Like, let's go back to Brian Enton. Brian Enton coming out and telling the world that Brian Kober said, hey, who else was arrested? Dude, you should not be able to do that. Brian Enton should have to cough up. Like, who the hell told you that? We know it's someone from law enforcement.
Right.
And it never happened. And why was that put out there? Why?
For the
narrative. They should all be held accountable for all of that shit, Lana.
Yes.
Every bit of it. Everything they have said that is not true, they need to be held accountable for. Repeatedly saying stupid shit, that he's cleaning his car with bleach, that this happened, and they're standing there saying, no, it didn't. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. They need to be held accountable for it, in my opinion.
They do. I
promise you, they bit off more than they can chew. They thought it was going to go away. They don't realize that there's a bunch of crazies out there, like
oh no,
me and you, fine folks.
Yes,
that
I'm not leaving.
Isn't going to shut up. And
we ain't going nowhere, bro.
For every little piece of thing to come out and blast it to the moon until somebody that freaking has some brains that are a little bit higher up goes, dang, you know what? That's. Yeah, that does sound kind of messed up, man. That car's got fog lamps, huh? He didn't have it? You sure? Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're very sure.
Yeah.
And then whenever they have guests on like the mainstream media channels, I always laugh and I'm like, who are these people talking about this case? They don't even know about the case.
No idea.
Morons.
Anytime you want to talk about the Idaho4 case,
morons, yes.
But with the Karen Reed case, they'll go out and get a YouTuber or whatever and have them both on each side. It's like, come do that with the Idaho4 case. Right. Well, let's get a YouTuber from each side and let's actually have a conversation. And you want to debate some stuff, let's debate. But they don't want none of that.
It's an easy debate at this point. It's an easy debate.
I want to debate the government. I'm not debating Brian Kober. I want to debate the government. Look at all this crap. This is what's going on. And you guys are the media. You are supposed to be not pushing a narrative, but dotting and making sure that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. That's what the media was supposed to be always meant for. And you guys aren't doing that. In fact, y'all are leaving mainstream media, making your own channels on YouTube. And that's what's happening. And that's where like if you want good information, you're going to go and find somebody that's not a puppet. And
they don't understand. And it's hilarious because they bitch and complain and piss and moan about all of us. They don't understand. And I'm saying this to you out there, all of you, you all created us. Okay. Every one of these mainstream media channels, the government, all of it, you all created us. This is why we're here. So you can't bitch and complain about it, guys. I mean, that's all I'm saying. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for that bullshit, folks. Facts are fact.
I agree. And I think that's something that all of us have as a common denominator is, Lana, you referenced this a couple of minutes ago. You said, where are the rights in this case, right? I've always said in America, and I'm sure we have people that tune in from outside of this country, but especially in America, there's always this tragedy that allows people to emotionally palate and overstep an overreach on your rights. And it seems like the same playbook is followed, right? Okay, we'll let you do this, but just this one time to catch this monster. And then after the fact, it's going to be codified. It's going to be written in law. And now we're all cooked because we spit into a tube that 10 years ago, we had no idea it was going to get sold. And now IGG is post-crime. You're cooked if they want to cook you. They're going to have the geofence. They're going to have Palantir pre-crime. We live
Tower Doves. Just because you're in an area which is 2 miles of a crime, you are now a suspect. Are you out of your mind?
It's insane.
And stalking at 40 miles per hour. That's right.
You know, your phone went off. What?
Right.
Yeah. Well, how about in that area? It just goes out and in like come on, man.
Don't ever let your phones go off.
No.
You know.
Well, how much new case law do you guys think this is going to create?
There's going to be a Koberger law. There's going to be a Koberger law. I'm calling it right now.
I'm with you on that one.
All right. I got to round this up. I have a ball drop, though, we're going to do. I got a video of a ball drop. So we're going to drop the ball here. With
what a great way to end the year.
We're going to end it so anybody that's out there in a different country that's like almost, midnight, here we go. We're going to drop the ball here.
I just wanted to say real quick, though, I appreciate all three of y'all because y'all do put in the time and the effort. And Doggo, I don't know how you do it, man. You put in so much time. And I love your show, brother.
Thank you,
I love your show, Birdie. You got the best personality out there. And Lana, you're the hardest working, smartest one on this case. And I appreciate all y'all, man.
He is. We love you too, bro. We do.
I love that I got to pop your cherry out here on this live. Look at this. This is great.
And
New Year's Eve.
Lana, again, not just blowing smoke up your ass. I truly believe, Lana, you're probably the only one that could have put together this panel. So thank you for giving, myself and Dago, Pop, and Pop. It's great to finally talk to you, Dago. Always great per usual. Lana, you and I, like we've talked, offline. It's great to have met you.
I got nothing but love for you. I love that I got to know you, and
Birdie's a great dude. And Paul, I'm telling you, bro, not everybody always agrees with you, but I tell you, I have nothing but absolute respect for you, brother.
Yeah.
I love what you
Not
do.
everybody hardly ever agrees with me, Doggo. So that means even more you saying that, brother.
I love how you do it, and I love why you do it. And Lana knows I love her. That's all there is to it. So.
But there's no one that can deny, and that's what it's all about is respect. If this is what you do for a living, then how you cannot show. I have respect for people's work ethic. I have respect for their time, their efforts. And we could totally disagree on numerous things. And then there's some stuff that we can agree on. But at the end of the day, if you don't have respect for actually what you do, which is what other people do, then that's where I'm just like, I want nothing to do with you. Whoever thinks like that, there's a lot of time that goes into it, a lot of stuff. Like that's why I wanted to kick it off and ask Pop, hey, you're making a video. It looks like, it was just 15 minutes. Do you know how long that took to put that 15 minutes together? And that's why I wanted to open up that way, because I know how long those videos take. I know how much digging goes into that. I know how much time I put into it, and it's a lot. And I think that it shows, though, people want to watch what you're producing, and because it's good and you have your opinion about it, but the information is there for other people to have a different way to look at it, and you're not making shit up. And that's what I love. Like, hey, let's look at the documents. Let's look whatever they're pumping out to us, and they can have a narrative, but we can say, hey, these are the documents. So these the words that they're using here, that's fluff. This is look at it how you want to look at it.
That's it.
So I got
to be real, y'all. We know that half of our people all put our stuff on mute and just look at our pretty faces. That's all they do. We think we got all these people watching this, and they're just sitting there looking at us, going, "Wow,
this young dude down here in the corner is the one they all are looking for." Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, thank you so much for taking your time, to come with me and set this up. I know that 2,500 people, I'm telling you, more than that, probably like 40,000 people out there wanted to see this happen, and we made it happen. At the end of the year, 2025. We were supposed to have. I
appreciate you so much for having me on, Lana. I've really enjoyed it.
Did you enjoy it? How was your first live?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Shooting the shit, right?
It was awesome. Awesome.
It's better than because when I have to write a comment in the comment section, like, hey, oh yeah, and I'm time stamping. Yeah, that's what I thought too at that time. That's why I give my information to Pop. I'm like time stamping his videos and writing in the comment section, like, yeah, dude, right there, that is that kind of chestnut guy. You got the right thing. I just remember these little things I'll write at like nighttime as I'm going to bed. But thank you so much. And then here I want to play this. We're gonna go out with a bang. If you have a drink or a water, whatever. But here you go. Oh, look at you. Here, let me put this up. Again, thank you so much to the moderators, all the channel moderators for all the channels here today.
Out of coffee.
You're out of coffee, Pop?
I'm out of coffee, man. Shoot. Well, I'm saying my pot's only 18 feet away. I'm going to have me another.
I think you drink as much as I do, Pop. I'm nonstop with a coffee cup all day long.
Well, I got up this morning at 4 and I started drinking, and I just stopped because my cup ran empty. So
that's how I stopped too.
Started drinking coffee. Coffee. Man.
I eat some food tonight, drink coffee during the day,
There you go.
Happy New Year's, everybody, too. This was a great way, especially, for somebody like myself. I'm new to the YouTube this year, and it's been a lot of fun. So
you've done a great job, brother, just getting up to where you're at, too. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
So this is them showing the ball.
Whoa, midnight thing went longer than I thought.
Look at that. That's the ball this year. Look at that thing. How much do you think that thing costs?
The viewing deck.
Look at this.
360 degree.
139-foot pole, baby. Stick it right up Bill Thompson's ass.
Exactly.
Shoot.
All in all.
Expanding the
Molly
ball's
would have that
access
thing
embodies the
about
true
30 minutes.
essence of New York City. The ball will be more than a centerpiece of New Year's Eve.
So there it is, guys.
The crossroads of the world.
That's what the ball looks like tonight. It's dropping. Again, thank you guys so much. 10, 9, 8,
Expanding
7,
the ball's
and I'm shutting it off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yay!
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
See you on the next one. We love all of you. If I was there, I'd be
Lana.
kissing and hugging you all. Drunk like Donnie Wahlberg.
2020
guys.
gonna be an amazing year in true
Y'all be
crime.
safe tonight. All y'all
Yep.
be safe
Safe.
tonight, okay?
Party hard.
You too, bro.
Woo!
Cheers,
Party
everybody.
it up. Love it. Let me just
Absolutely, bro.
out
Are you staying home, Lana?
all day.
All right, I was
No,
gonna say, don't be
I'm
going
gonna go